Okay. Welcome in everyone. I'm just trying to get the stream set up properly. And I'm kind of sucking because you know how we be at this. Let's see, turning up the audio. Okay, yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let me make sure the audio's
California Days.
good on
California
here.
Days is a 2-day festival that we have every year at Calico, and it's to represent the history of California and the significance of Calico Ghost Town. We have a ton of activities that celebrate the history of California.
The best thing I love about Calico is that it's about living history. And we're here to show you what it would have been like living in town during this time.
Calico was very important to the country and to San Bernardino County because it was the largest silver strike in California. So it really put San Bernardino on the map. A lot of money came out of here, and a lot of very wealthy people made a lot of money here.
The miners, people forget, were the young soldiers coming out.
What are the
of
odds that
Civil
we're
War
talking
to
about
find their
mining?
fortune.
Okay. Hold on. Let's get some music up because that's how we should do. That's how we should do. Senator Bernie Sanders is live. All right, let's go with this. I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm a lo-fi house girly. Yay, welcome in Stardust. That's my baby girl right there. All right, I think we're about ready to get started here. I just wanted to post on social medias that I was live. Hopefully we get some people hopping in from Instagram. But we'll see. Okay. So first and foremost, wanted to go over a little bit about now let's just start watching some San Bernardino County silliness.
To find their fortunes. Because Calico was so isolated, this was the schoolhouse that everybody came to.
People here were resilient, lived through scorching summers and freezing winters. You had to be a pretty tough cookie. Walter Knott saved this town by buying it in 1951. It was completely going to pot because it wasn't a valid mining town anymore. But he had worked here years before and fell in love with it, as a lot of people that are associated with Calico do.
We want people to know their history and know how important it is and where our roots are.
It's exciting to be able to go back in time. A lot of places.
Oh yeah,
no
Calico
longer
Ghost
exist like
Town,
this.
one of the
So much
great
for the
historic
entire family to do. A lot of
places in
music,
San Bernardino
we
County.
have food, we have drink, and just a lot of people in character. We have the gunfights.
Oh yeah, gunfight.
It's important for the community to stay in touch with their history, to know what California's been through, especially San Bernardino. It just brings the community together.
This is a part of our history.
Something magical about this place, it really is.
We're actually out here. We're showing you a chance to experience it for yourself.
I would say if you're free for the weekend, you can come out, get some good food, meet some good people, and learn something.
All right. Okay. So that was, little introduction that they always do. We're going to skip through because they're going to be doing their prayers as per usual.
Especially living in this country and in this area. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
To the flag of the United States of America. All right, we don't have time for this. I mean, we do have time for this. No, it's just that I don't want to make time
Improvements
for
in the
this.
procurement processes, and always staying involved and striving for excellence. And his position and his role showed his commitment to his colleagues, and he left a lasting impact on his department. His wife was also, or currently is, a county employee, and we are keeping their entire family in our thoughts. And with that, we have one special presentation this morning, so if my employees can join me in the well. If my colleagues.
My who? My who?
As it was coming out, thank you very much. Supervisor Armendariz. Supervisor Cook.
To make decisions. The
first one.
Vice.
Sorry, I need
Thank you
to
very
say
much.
what the little
We
faux
will
pas
now
was.
move on to our memorial adjournments. Vice Chair Baca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have two for Sam Youth Education Football.
I'm sorry, don't have time for memorials.
At home and just
Municipal. Well, and with that, we have one special presentation this morning, so
There
if
we
my
go.
employees can join me in the well.
My employees. She said if my employees could join me in the well. Man, what is with these Freudian slips that come out of these people's mouth? Jeez. All right. So yeah, let's hear what her and her employees have to say.
As it was coming out, it didn't sound right.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't.
Maybe I should just let the vice chair take over from here on out. I would like to ask Maria Jose Alba to please join us. Good morning. That's a lot of pins. Congratulations. This morning, I would like to present a resolution in honor of Maria Jose Alba, who is retiring after 26 years of service to the county. Maria began her career in 1998 as the fiscal clerk. She later was promoted to fiscal specialist, where she trained new employees on payroll and onboarding responsibilities.
I was not a fiscal specialist, but I could have been one. I guess I was when I was working for the county, I was technically a fiscal clerk. So good for her. She put in her time, and now she's getting recognized by the Board of Supervisors. Good for her.
She then moved to Information Technology and Support Division, where she assisted Financial and Administration Services team. Thank you very much for your dedication to all of our employees and our residents, and we wish you excitement and happiness in retirement. For all the years of service.
Thank you.
We'll take some pictures, and then we say a
All right, that's kind of cute, not gonna lie. I'm happy for her.
say a few words.
Oh, she's shy. It's okay.
I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with County of San Bernardino for 26 years.
26
5 months
years.
to the dot. A long, long time. My daughter was only 5 months old, and
That's
now
so
she's
precious.
also a county worker.
Hey,
I want to thank
keeping it in the
my
family.
coworkers, my supervisor, prior and current, for being here, ITSD personnel, and my family, my son and my daughter. My other son couldn't make it. He's in jury duty.
Oh,
Civil duty.
dang. More civil duty. Wow.
And all the other gentlemen that are here from other departments. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Board of Supervisors and Mr. Snoke. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Would you like to bring your family up for photos? Can we have the family join us for photos, please?
All right, I'm happy, very, very happy for them. Okay. All right. Hopefully this is the start of the real meeting for real. I have to admit, I'm kind of having a hard time finding the board agenda items on the county page for this meeting, so I don't know what's up with that.
All right, we will move on to our reports from County Council. Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Board of Supervisors voted 5-0 in closed session to file a lawsuit. Once the
What?
lawsuit has been filed, the nature of the lawsuit, the defendants, and the other particulars shall be disclosed to any person upon inquiry, unless to do so would jeopardize the county's ability to effectuate service of process on one or more unserved parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And reports from Luther, our CEO.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am
Nothing?
pleased to report that the county has initiated 2 significant contracts with Donkeyland, effective April 1st, 2025. These contracts were authorized and processed through the county purchasing department. First is a non-financial contract that provides rescue and relocation services for injured, sick, orphaned, or high-risk boroughs. And this ensures lifelong care at Donkeyland Sanctuary for those unable to return to the wild. Then the second contract funds the sterilization of 100 male boroughs within 1 year, supporting humane population management and community safety. So these partnerships reflect our commitment to local, compassionate, and community-focused solutions for managing the wild borough population in San Bernardino County. And our residents and visitors are encouraged to learn more about the county's wild borough program on our county's animal care website. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. A couple streams back, we saw a bunch of passionate people coming to share their thoughts on what was happening with these wild boroughs in San Bernardino County. So I'm glad that the county came to a good resolution. It sounds like it'll be a good resolution, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see if there's any comments from Donkeyland on that. So, but good. That's good to hear that they're going to be getting taken care of. Maybe a case of where enough people get together and raise their voices about something is actually getting something done. So yeah, we'll look into that a little bit more.
To our individual
but
board
let's
member
continue.
comments. Vice Chair Baca.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to give opening remarks at the Continuum of Care Full Board membership meeting, and this is to address homelessness. And one of the things I want to thank the Office of Homeless Services for doing is really try to build up community input and really try to build this system up to have providers in each one of our regions provide input and then have a body that could continue to screen and screen items and give recommendations to the ICH board. So this was a great opportunity to continue to build up our homeless issues and address them in our county. The other thing is really want to thank our San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department for doing a great job for the operation they performed in the Rosina Ranch, Lytle Creek, and North Rialto community, administering warrants and making sure that there's compliance checks for parole violations. I want to thank you for the great work you're doing to keep our community safe, so thank you so much. Also, with the Bloomington MAC, I want to congratulate the new Bloomington MAC members. We have a couple new members to the MAC board. We actually did a community swearing in. And
I
they
have
had their
no
first
idea what the
meeting
Bloomington MAC
last
board
week,
is.
and really want to thank them for their participation.
Let's find out.
And then also coming up, we're having our Earth Day cleanup in conjunction with Public Works and also code enforcement. We're going to be having it on April 26th in Muscoy and Bloomington community. Do everything we can to try to keep our community clean and provide people the opportunity to
Bloomington Municipal
just,
Advisory Council. So it looks like it's a thing where people get on and talk about their let's see, Bloomington Municipal Advisory Council. Oh, that's right, because Bloomington isn't actually a city. So maybe this is the Board of Supervisors' attempt to have a city-like structure for Bloomington. These look like just normal people. Yeah, I guess we'll have to look into that a little bit more. But I mean, seems like Joe Baca Jr. is pretty okay with
yesterday,
them?
along with my colleague Supervisor Armendariz, who gave great remarks yesterday. We had the 10th Annual National Crime Victims' Right Week Memorial. I want to thank our DA, Jason Anderson, for hosting that, along with Florida Alarcon from the Bureau of Victim Services, and continue to remember our victims. And I think that's just, it's an important thing, and we had a full board resolution from the entire Board of Supervisors to present to the DA. So thank you for your good work. I just want to highlight 2 items from the agenda. Item 62 is the Bloomington Sewer Expansion Project. This is the $6.5 million that the Board of Supervisors is receiving from SCAG to do infrastructure within the Bloomington community. And I really want to give a shout out to my colleague, Supervisor Hagman. This money was threatened to be taken by the governor. I know that
Really?
Supervisor Hagman went to Sacramento to lobby our legislators and the governor to ensure that this money was reinstated to the county of San Bernardino. So thank you, Supervisor Hagman. And the last item is item 63. We're investing about $660,000 in some shade structures at our park, at Ayala Park in the Bloomington community. This is a board discretionary money to make sure we continue to invest to improve our parks in the Bloomington community. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Armendariz.
Thank you. We attended the Upland State of the City, got to see some familiar faces, attended with my colleague here, Supervisor Hagman. It was an incredible event, great food, great networking opportunity. We also had our community event in Rancho Cucamonga. We had over 50 people attend, where they came out and just talked to us. I want to thank Balboa City for hosting the event, and find out that these the owners were actually 3 young women who are Latinas who want to start their own business because they are just wanting to be entrepreneurs and lead their own path. So it's great to support them. We also had our pet adoption event in Fontana and Upland. We had a total of 4 furry animals adopted. So if you didn't know, the entire month of April, if you're a resident of the 2nd District, you can actually adopt a pet from the county facilities, and the 2nd District is going to cover that cost for you. I want to thank our county animal services for partnering with us. And also, we had our first ever Youth Advisory Council meeting. I was absolutely blown away at the amount of talented kids that actually showed up to our event. Some of these kids are going to Ivy League schools like Harvard and Stanford. Most of them, and I literally mean most of them, have their own businesses already in high school or nonprofits. And what was amazing to hear is these kids are focusing on mental health, which was very warming to my heart. I want to take a moment to thank the Mayor of Fontana, Aquanetta Warren, and our County Assessor, Josie Gonzalez, for speaking at our little program. Also, we hosted a sidewalk vending workshop in Upland, where we gave an opportunity for public health to actually work with those sidewalk vendors and let them know what the rules are for compliance if they want to be successful sidewalk vendors in the County of San Bernardino. We attended Shoes That Fit ribbon cutting. We also attended the 26th annual Shine Your Light on child abuse. Had an opportunity to recognize some great individuals. Also, the Mars Cerner, who was a Fontana Unified School District board member, received the Lifetime Achievement Award. Mars is a great man, does great work, and I was really glad that we were able to attend that and show support for him. Also attended the Behavioral Health Commission meeting that I was appointed to. I want to let you know, Chairwoman Rowe, we had a great meeting. We were able to establish guidelines to run the meeting more effectively and efficiently. We had Alex Madison, running back for the Miami Dolphins, show up and give a presentation letting know he wants to partner with us.
What's up with them just
stuff.
inviting
So
athletes?
we are making strides in that Behavioral Health Commission. Also, we had a community cleanup in San Antonio Heights, and we did a tour of Confire. And last but not least, join us for our Real Reality Fentanyl Awareness Campaign debut. It'll be on April 12th from 11 to noon at AMC Victoria Gardens, if you want to see those videos that these young people made. They're really, really good, very impactful.
Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick updates. One, SCAG just recently partnered with South Coast AQMD and received $51.5 million in grants to support.
You know, I hate when they use all these acronyms. I do not know what SCAG is.
Project billion available for the region, and look at federal bills. We'll be screening the student film films submitted by students in the district on the dangers of fentanyl. So if
Okay,
you're
more
interested in
fentanyl
contact
awareness.
House,
Yes, we
Services,
know.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, we have 2 changes today. Item number 49 is being taken off calendar, and item number 73 on the discussion calendar will be taken off calendar at that time. Those are all the changes I have. Thank you.
Wait, hold on.
Thank you very
We need
much.
to see what item 49 is. She said item 49, I think. Whoops. I'm being a boomer
If a
right
board
now. I'm
member has
sorry.
a conflict of interest to disclose.
Class 4 and Class 5 delivery vehicles, electric vehicles. We're also seeking projects to reduce congestion, improve air quality with over 1.2 billion available for the region. And it's all on the SCAG website. So I'm hoping our county staff will look at that as well. Ontario, move on Ontario Airport. Ontario wins American Advertising Federation Award, and so we want to congratulate that team. And a couple of quick events coming up this month. From Thursday, 8:68 p.m. at the Harkins Theater in Chino Hills, we'll be screening the student films submitted by students in the district.
Thank you.
Calendar will be taken off. Yes, we have 2 changes today. Item number 49 is being taken off calendar, and item number 70.
Okay, 49 and 73, real quick. 49 is a purchasing, approve amended number 1 agreement to number 20-157 master lease agreement number blah, 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 with Lenovo Financial Services for fair market value lease of computers in the amount not exceeded by 5 million? No, hold on. Yep, because it's not, per year, and extending to the term by 5 years for a total of contract period of March 24th, 2020 through March 23rd, 2030. Wow. That's kind of a lot. I wonder why they took that off. Are they not going to go through with it or what? That will be very interesting to hear. Oh, 5 million. Thank you, Marcella Tucci, for commenting. They better improve the air quality in our area. I'd be curious to know which specific area you're talking about, and how, if you have any thoughts on how we can improve the air quality. Okay, so yeah, they removed a $5 million contract, or $5 million per year contract, for 10 years essentially, to Lenovo. I wonder why they pulled that. Okay. And then let's go to item number 73. It is anticipated this item will be taken off of the calendar, acting as the governing body of county service area number 70, conduct a public hearing pursuant to the government code of section 2521.7.1 to hear and consider any protest to the formation of a new zone, County Service Area 70 zone, Landers campsite in the Landers area for road grading services. Seems like they want to do a lot here. Okay, so first they need to conduct a public hearing, acting as the governing body of County Service Area 70. Huh. So I guess this campsite to adopt resolution if determined no majority protest exists, the proposed property related service charge, which authorizes several authorizes a special mailed ballot election pursuant to Proposition 218 of the property owner's assessor's parcel number within County Service Area 70 zone. Weird. I wonder. So, we'll have to do some more digging into that. Let me take a note of that. And then we can go back to the live stream in just a second. All right.
3 on the discussion calendar will be taken off calendar at that time. Those are all the changes I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If a board member has a conflict of interest to disclose on any items on today's agenda, please do so
Any
now.
conflicts of interest? No
All right,
one.
we will move on to our consent calendar, which today consists of items 2 through 70. I have 2 requests to speak. Mr. Pazant, followed by Nathan Stewart. And while Mr. Pazant is making his way up, do we have any board members wishing to pull an item for discussion? Nope. All right. Good morning, Garth.
Good morning, Chair Rao and the Honorable Board
All
of
right, not this guy
Supervisors.
again, but
Item 2, adoption of recognitions, resolutions, and proclamations. Adopt proclamation proclaiming every fourth Saturday of April and October as National Prescription Drug Take Back Day through the year 2030. All you pharmacists, run to the hills. Jehovah has passed judgment on you. You have murdered millions. The national and international authorities will pursue you until you are no more.
Thank you very much, Nathan Stewart.
Marcella, I would say there's never been a conflict of interest yet. But I'd be curious to see how they really actually deal with that.
It is a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank you all for your commitment to seeing our communities and our region thrive. Each and every day, you and your staff do what's best for our residents and continue to put them first. I'm grateful to live in a community led by such an amazing group of individuals who are committed to seeing our region thrive. For those of you not familiar with the Tech Bridges, they're a doorway for startups, small businesses, and academics to collaborate on innovative technology solutions similar, primarily for sailors and Marines, but for private industry as well. Currently, there are 18 of them around the globe, including London and Japan, and by operating off-base and engaging directly in our communities, Tech Bridges provide the connections and expertise necessary for non-traditional organizations to access and thrive within the naval innovation ecosystem. The Inland Empire Tech Bridge is based in Norco and supports the command's mission set of data analytics, network data environments, measurement science and calibration, and range systems engineering. Additionally, we offer innovation accelerator programs, networking events and workshops, and government proposal consulting services, all free of charge to our region's entrepreneurs, small businesses, and innovators.
I didn't get what item this dude was talking about. The previous person, his name is Garth, I think. He usually is a regular in these meetings, and I think he just likes to put in his 2 cents on whatever item he feels he needs to talk about, which is within our right, that he's doing his civic thing, and actually being there as opposed to just me watching this on stream. But I would hope that my input comes at it with a different angle. I'm here reacting to it to for on the internet that's going to be up here forever. I'm going to tag it with different words. It's going to be a lot more searchable. So maybe we won't need people like Garth in the future, to come and always talk on everything. But still within his right to do so.
Thank you very much.
They're not going to respond to him. Yeah.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And for the second, Supervisor Hagman, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Never any abstentions.
With that, the consent calendar is approved.
Very well. And that brings us to item number 71. We will now open the public hearing for the item 71 is a public hearing pursuant to Proposition 218 and amendments to solid waste handling franchise agreements being presented by Noel Castillo. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Rao, board members. As mentioned, the item before you today is we're here for the 218 process to request to allow the continued use of current rate adjustment methodology. Next slide. The public hearing today is to amend 3 solid waste handling franchise agreements. The hearing will fulfill the notice process required under Proposition 218, proposing to extend the continued use of the current cost of living adjustment methodology in 2 county franchise areas. The third amendment for franchise area 16 franchise agreement would allow the grantee to subcontract services and does not require Proposition 218 notice to be mailed out. Next. The county has a contractual obligation with franchise haulers to adjust waste hauling rates annually based on a specific methodology. Under Proposition 218, a public hearing is required for approval of the rate adjustment methodology at least once every 5 years. We're renewing the existing methodology for franchise areas 17 and 21 to calculate the annual cost of living adjustments for a period from July 1st, 2025 to July 1st, 2029. This methodology was previously approved on June 9th, 2020 and expired on July 1st, 2024. We will not change the existing methodology, which uses specific cost indices to ensure rates accurately reflect service costs. Pursuant to the Proposition 218 requirements, notices were mailed out to each owner-resident in franchise areas 17 and 21 on or before February 21st, 2025, explaining the renewal of the annual rate adjustment methodology, presenting new rates effective July 1st, 2025, and giving each owner-resident at least 45 days to submit a written protest of the recommended action. And as of last Friday, we were not aware of any protests being filed. Next slide. Beginning July 2023, solid waste collection services in franchise area 16 changed significantly due to California Senate Bill 1383. Mountain Disposal, the franchise waste hauler for franchise 16, services 3 zones: Zone A in orange, which must fully comply with the bill; Zones B and C in green, which have waivers for some requirements. To optimize efficiency, Mountain Disposal may subcontract collection services for Zone A to Advanced Disposal, the
Dang, so
franchise
this looks
hauler
like
for the nearby franchise 18 area to the north. Next slide.
I don't know how much.
So next steps. The customers in franchise
Let's go
16A
back
zone will not
just
experience an
briefly.
increase in their
I don't know how often these different areas, Crestline, Running Springs, Lake Arrowhead, Summit Valley, and surrounding areas, I don't know how often they get their trash. So it'd be get their trash collected. That sounds what this is for. Real quick, I was starting to read this article from Cal Matters. Let's go over it real quick together. All right. 2 lawsuits continue California's tax wars by Dan Walters, posted in August 15th, 2022. When California voters passed Proposition 13, the state's iconic property tax limit in 1978, I personally just learned about Prop 13 myself. It's pretty much the ultimate form of direct democracy, and where voters either get to say I want to do something that's going to bypass legislators' approvals, or vice versa. Legislators create a bill that voters get to vote on and say if they want that. It might not necessarily have to get state legislators' approval, but it's really the ultimate form of democracy. That's when we had the notorious Prop 8 in 2008, where California had legalized same-sex marriage, and then people who didn't like that said, let's take it to the people and have the people decide if they want to keep same-sex marriage legal. And surprise, surprise, a lot of people were confused in the wording of the bill, of the proposition, and they did not really know how to vote on it, or were confused or misled, and same-sex marriage ended up getting overturned in the state of California until it was legalized by the Supreme Court with Oberfeld versus V. Hodges, I think. I know I'm a pretty bad gay if I can't remember that. Ober Ober. I'm sorry, homie. I don't know how to say your name. V. Hodges. Yeah, that was Obergeffel. Sorry, bro. Obergeffel v. Hodges was the one that granted same-sex marriage, or at least, the right of privacy to be allowed to same-sex couples. All right. Continue back to the article. The latest of many battles over tax limits occurred just 2 years ago when voters rejected an effort to modify Proposition 13 by making it easier to raise taxes on commercial property. As officials fashioned new ways to raise revenue without violating Proposition 13's strictures, anti-tax groups countered with new ballot measures to prohibit the term or limit the term, and were largely successful. One of the most important Proposition 13 clashes was over Proposition 218 in 1996, which sought to limit the ability of local governments to levy non-property taxes without voter approval and limit fees on the actual cost of services, rather than provide general revenue. Its limits on fees were later tightened up by Proposition 26 in 2010. One Proposition 218 section required that taxes for special purposes be approved by two-thirds voter majorities, but the state Supreme Court recently ruled that a special tax proposed by initiative rather than by the governments themselves require only a simple majority vote. All right, so see, that's what I was talking about with the initiatives versus the referendums of how these things that we get to vote on get put on. Okay. However, the rest of Proposition 218 remained intact and figures in two lawsuits, one decided last week by state Supreme Court that tests the measure's potency. The Supreme Court case Zolli versus City of Oakland involves franchises the city issued for collection of trash and other materials. The suit alleges that Oakland collected unreasonably high franchise fees from waste haulers, and the extra costs were passed on to the consumers in the form of charges, thus violating Proposition 218 and Proposition 26 requirements that fees be strictly related to the cost of services. The city won at trial, but an appellate court ruled that the franchise fees are subject to constitutional limits, and the Supreme Court upheld the appellate ruling, thus jeopardizing the validity of Oakland's trash franchises and bolstering Proposition 218's impact. The second lawsuit involving Proposition 218 was filed this year against the city of Sacramento, alleging that an election to approve new fees for stormwater facilities was tainted because the city, in effect, stuffed the ballot box. The election was limited to property owners who could pay the fee rather than ordinary voters, and the city cast more than 2,000 ballots in favor of the fee on behalf of city-owned parcels, while the lawsuit alleges limiting the ability of those who owned multiple properties to do the same. By casting votes on behalf of city-owned property in favor of a fee that will effectively be paid to the city subverted Proposition 218's goal of protecting taxpayers by limiting the methods by which local governments exact revenue from taxpayers without their consent. The lawsuit filed by commercial property owner Desin LLC declares, The Sacramento case is not only another test of Proposition 218, but a new wrinkle in recent phenomenon of local governments being more aggressive in promoting revenue and bond measures to vote. As the chronicle in this space and other venues, local officials often hire political consultants to design full-fledged campaigns for the measures under the guise of information. At one point, the Fair Political Practices Commission was starting to crack down on the deceptive and perhaps illegal practices of spending taxpayer money for political campaigns, but it continues. Interesting. I did not know that there was a potential of, these contracted companies spending taxpayer money for political campaigns. That's not good. It was once said, allegedly by Benjamin Franklin, that nothing is certain but death and taxes. In California, it is also certain that we will continue to battle over tax limits. Well, yes, I think that goes along with, just death and taxes. No one willingly wants to die. No one willingly wants to pay taxes. But we do, because we come to a compromise on these things and figure out what we need for a society to be, to run. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Dan Walters. I guess that was an opinion, but we kind of made our own assumptions on it. So yeah. All right. So now that we know that Proposition 218 is like solid or waste removal and basically contracting it to, yes, big agree, Marcella. We do not want our taxes going for campaigns. That is a big no-no in democracy. Let's see what Redland Community News, that's a local paper here by Israel J. Carreron, I think, from September of 2024. Oh, look, my favorite city, a city that works, Redlands. I just think it's funny that they have this logo, this saying on their trash cans. A city that works, like implying that the rest of the cities in San Bernardino County do not work. But okay, we'll save my Redlands hate for another day. Redlands utility services are going up. On September 3rd, the Redlands City Council unanimously approved authorizing adjustments to the rates for solid waste utility services. Interesting. The approved rate increase will take effect on January 1st, 2025, so we're already about 4 months into this, with a 9% increase, subsequently increasing on January 1st, 2026, and January 1st of the following year, with a final of 4% increase by January 1st, 2028. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Marcella. I'm not going to hate on Redlands. It is a very beautiful town. And, they never had any sundown politics or anything. And it's just a great historical city. 10 out of 10 would recommend going there during the daytime. The final year's adjustments focused on inflation. The city last adjusted solid waste rates in October 2021. The recommended rate adjustments follow an extensive review by the Municipal Utilities and Public Works Commission, which met on March 18th and April 15th to discuss the necessity of adjusting solid waste rates. Who is the Municipal Utilities and Public Works Commission? Let's find that out real quick. I guess I could have just highlighted that and a little copy and paste. Okay. And so I think it's just a specific City of Redlands department. Municipal Utilities, Public Works Commission. Through the individual and collective expertise of the members, the Municipal Utilities Public Works Commission advises the Municipal Utilities and Public Works Engineering Department regarding the public's acceptability, acceptability of proposed plans, programs, and projects. Okay, so it sounds like this might be a community-run board. I don't know who the members are or how they are appointed, but seems like they have regular meetings. Well, this one doesn't say what the date is, unless I'm missing it, but there's no date on that. Show all dates. Okay, so next meeting is on, oh, I guess we missed it on the 7th. So next meeting is in June. Okay. Okay. So they met together and then contracted with the Roosevelt-based solid waste management company R3 Consulting Group to conduct comprehensive financial plans and study rates. R3's analysis revealed that the current revenue from solid waste services are insufficient to cover the costs, leading to a depletion of reserve balances in the solid waste fund. Without the proposed rate adjustments, the city's reserves for solid waste would be exhausted by the end of fiscal year 25 to 26, jeopardizing the city's ability to maintain current service levels. After extensive review, a 9% increase was decided to address the rising operational costs to ensure compliance with Senate Bill 1383. This state law mandates a significant reduction in organic waste disposal by 2025. Oh, I wonder if that's why Burtec, a company, a trash solid waste removal company that we have here in my hometown of Cucamonga, why they started doing composting recently, or picking up composting. I wonder if that was because they were mandated in reducing organic waste by 2025. Now I remember the composting thing got started in maybe like 2020 or something like that. So I would love to know the success of it. I don't know if more people are composting with all the service areas that Burtec has. I don't know if they have done things like that. All right, so let's continue. To implement mandatory recycling and organic collection along other measures. Organic collection, 100%. Compost, so called it. R3 President Garth Schultz was at the meeting to provide further insight into the study. What's up with all the people named Garth? You only adjusted solid waste rates here in the city of Redlands 10 times out of the last 30 years, and you can see there is a line here in green on the chart so much of the time that there have been no annual adjustments. Okay, whatever. Guys, I think, but the average rate adjustment that you implemented over the course of 30 years period is around 2.5%. Okay, so I think his point is that the increase now is going to be 9%, and over a 30-year period, it was only 2.5%. So interesting. I wonder if maybe just the having just the bill is the reason for the rise in cost of operation to reduce the amount of organic waste. That's crazy. Why can't it be done? Councilman Mario Saucedo asked if there was a cap on the rate increase. Schultz says no. We're recommending is a part of a study over the next 4 years of rate of adjustments, which would be the maximum that would be allowed to be put forth to ratepayers if adopted by the council. If for some reason, say in 2 or 3 years, staff was to look at the financial health of the enterprise and determine that the fully recommended and maximum rate adjustment were no longer necessary for some reason, aka he doesn't see that being an actual possibility, but I mean, technically it is a possibility. then you could, of course, implement a lower rate adjustment. So, he's saying that if it does change costs, which I couldn't imagine how or why, that just doesn't make sense. Adjusting the rate of the fees. In addition to the financial aspect, the city staff also identified several cost-saving measures that would help offset the need for higher rate increase. These revisions to staffing allocations and fleet maintenance costs are expected to reduce personnel and vehicle expenses by $7,500,000 annually, starting in the 24 to 25 fiscal year. The city adjusted the time frame for replacing several vehicles in the solid waste division's fleet, allowing it to defer some replacement costs without impacting operations. Okay, so it sounds like the only way they plan to reduce money is by reducing staff and maybe more automation of their vehicles. Like instead of having a physical person, 2 people manning the truck, 1 driver, 1 filling it, you could have a truck that has a mechanical arm that fills itself, thus, reducing 1 full staff person. I doubt they're being paid, like even a 5-figure salary, much less a 6-figure salary. But let's see. I don't know. It seems like they're already saying that that's projecting how much they can save per year, which doesn't make sense while they also have to add fees. Okay. But, I'm no business person. The city adjusted the time frame for replacing several vehicles in the solid waste division's fleet, allowing it to defer some replacement costs without impacting operations. The adjustments were structured to avoid 2 rate charges within 12 months and to ensure that solid waste funds remain solvent through fiscal year 27-28. City Attorney Yvette Garcia confirmed that the adjustments comply with Proposition 218, which require a 45-day notice to solid waste utility customers. The notice must inform customers of the proposed rates and their right to protest. Okay, so I wonder if this 45-day notice was only posted in newspapers that nobody reads. And not posted on social media where everyone can see, but because our term of the era that we are in, where we give and receive information, is no longer through the TV or radio shows. It's on the internet, and I don't know where the 45-day notices were put, but my impression is that people did not see this notice, and then when they go to try to actually protest the increase of the fees for removing trash, it's too late because they have these rules in place and they followed it by the book, but nobody reads Redlands Community News. This is like me just grasping for straws to find something on this, and it's kind of, not, it's kind of complicated too. So, not the average person could really understand this. So whatever, 45-day notice, that's basically like, 6 weeks, a month and a half. Proposition 218, passed in 1996, requires local governments to seek voter approval before imposing or increasing certain taxes. Yes, I can agree with that big time. I think a lot of us can agree with that, no matter where you lie in the political, spectrum. America was founded on taxation, no taxation without representation. And we need to be informed on these things. And I don't know how people can get informed on these things. Thank you. Stardust said, I don't even know where I can get a physical newspaper. Neither do I. You can subscribe to the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin or the San Bernardino Sun, but those are kind of like repeats of each other. They don't have the same integrity that like legacy media has. And, they just are copies. Yep, that's exactly it, Marcella. It's kind of smart for these people to hide this information from public by only putting it on old media. Exactly. So that's where it's like, do we as Californians want to adjust these like rules that we have so that way more people can see it? Because I mean, back then everyone got a newspaper. This was passed in 1996. In 1996, people didn't even have cell phones really then. I think only like some people had car phones and stuff, but people were still very much used to getting their news from the nightly news or the newspapers, and that was an appropriate time. I mean, when the other proposition, Prop 13, was passed, that was in 1978. People didn't even, people were still like, newspapers were the way. So I think California should really kind of jump more on the times, or at least maybe like, just get rid of these kinds of things to begin with. Why can't the people protest the fee increase at any time? Why does it have to be only a exclusive period of time for them to have the ability to protest it? Like, this is America. We should be able to get a refund if we want it. This is how things work, or how they should work. And I'm tired of pretending that these types of services get to not be like a regular, market. I can't go and get solid waste management or solid waste removal from anywhere. I only have one option to do it. So do these people in, Crestline and Lake Arrowhead and Forest Falls. They're a whole different game up there because they're living in very rural or more rural areas than the valley, so they really depend on waste removal and things like that because they're just so much more isolated from the urban communities of that San Bernardino County is used to managing. So anyways, under Prop 218, the City of Redlands proposed to raise fees for trash collection and other waste management services. Property owners must be notified and given the opportunity to voice their opposition. The city did this by mailing out, again, another old form of media, mailing out information that informs residents of the rate increase. The city cannot move forward with the fee hike if most property owners submit written protest. In this case, halting the rate increased more than 50% of solid waste utility users to protest in writing. That's crazy. You can't expect half of the users to actually get up and say something. That would require like at least, 80% of the people being upset, But again, it's weird little rules like this that, benefit companies or people who just want to profit off of us. If you want to make a business and really be profitable with waste removal, you gotta provide some amazing services. I want my trash cans emptied every day, not just once a week then. So I want my trash to be sorted out. I want my recyclables to be sorted out like how they are in Germany. I want to separate my papers from my cans. And I don't think that we're even on that level yet. We're just throwing everything in one recycling bin. Or, some people don't even know. They just throw everything into the trash, and that's a perfectly acceptable thing here in America. Nobody questions it. You're entitled to throw it into the trash, but that's going into a landfill that's in our area. So I would hope more people see the benefit to recycling, but, anyways. Back to Prop 218. Marcella said, one has to wonder where all the money goes. Well, that's the bureaucracy for you. Nobody knows. Kathleen Flynn, a resident, spoke out against the rate increase at the meeting. She says the increase needs to be more equitable. It is discriminatory to single people and seniors who are being charged the same. That is true. If it's not like a percent on how much trash you're throwing out. It seems like it's just a flat rate increase of 9% for everyone. And yeah, a family home is not going to have as much trash as a retail business, right? That's just the nature of it because, business have so much more operations. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Paul Broch followed up on Flynn's concerns and asked Schultz if R3's study considers bin sizes. Broch asked if smaller bins or different pickup schedules were possible. Schultz said that the study was based on a 60-gallon service that the city provides. Other communities do not provide smaller sizes of containers, often at modest changes in the bi-monthly or monthly rate, depending on the community. But that's not something that was a direction for the study. This maintains your current service offering and rate structures. Weird. Sounded like just a generic response. Not really answering the question because Kathleen Flynn's question was, why are we getting a flat rate increase on everyone, no matter the size or the amount of our trash? So, valid question, not a valid answer. City Manager Charles Dugan said the issue is more complex than reducing bin sizes and pickup plans, but told the city council's city staff could look at other options. What other options? Dugan said that various details needed to be considered when altering services, especially when considering Prop 218, which requires the city to calculate the cost for each customer. We would have to look at what's the savings if we have a truck picking up someone's twice a month versus once a week. Oh, so it is a service schedule thing. So these people might only be getting their trash picked up twice a month, bi-weekly. That's crazy. Is there a savings there? Because what are we saving? We're still driving up to the house, so there's no fuel savings. We may need different trucks to pick them up, so it may be more expensive. May be more expensive actually to provide service that's different than what we're doing because it's for a smaller crowd and requires specialized equipment. Weird. So it's not even about the size of the trash. It's just the frequency of picking up the trash. Anyone who lives in these mountain towns of Lake Arrowhead, Crestline, or I guess even Redlands, what is your frequency, or anywhere in the Inland Empire? Redlands, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga, Rialto, Fontana, Ontario, Bloomington, Eastvale. How often does trash get picked up for you guys, and who's your waste removal provider? Because mine is Burtech. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if I could do a poll. Hold on, start a poll. Sorry, we'll go back to the video while I do that. I think we got the gist of the Proposition 218.
Nearby franchise 18 area to the north. Next slide. So next steps. The customers in franchise 16A zone will not experience an increase in their bills, as they will continue to be billed the same rates by mountain disposal. Collection services by a subcontracted hauler may start as early as July 2025, pending county consent. The franchise hauler must obtain consent from the director of the Department of Public Works before subcontracting provided to the county with a copy of the subcontractor agreement. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No? I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this item.
We do not.
So I will close the public hearing. I have a motion from Supervisor Hagman and a second by Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 71 is approved unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item 72 is the appeal of Planning Commission approval of the Lovemore Ranch subdivision. Linda, would you please read the order of proceedings?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item is an appeal of a Planning Commission action to approve project number PROJ-2021-00169, consisting of tentative tract map number 20443 to subdivide a vacant 18.49 acre parcel into 64 single-family residential lots in the Joshua Tree community. The appellant is Morongo Basin Conservation Association, and the applicant is Lovemore Investments LLC. The order of proceedings on this matter will be as follows. The chair will open the hearing. Mark Wardlaw, Director of Land Use Services, will make the staff presentation. The representative for the appellant, Steve Bardwell, will have the opportunity to make a 15-minute presentation. Then the representatives for the applicant, Axel Kramer and Mauricio Espinoza, will also have 15 minutes for their presentation. Following the presentations, the board will take public comment. Members of the public will have 3 minutes to present their testimony. In the interest of time, speakers are asked to avoid redundant testimony. When public comment testimony has concluded, the applicant and then the appellant will each have 5 minutes to present closing remarks. Mark Wardlaw will be available to offer comments and respond to any questions raised by the board. And at that point, the chair will close the public hearing and bring the matter back to the board for discussion and action. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will open the public hearing and turn it over to you, Mark.
Good morning,
Let's
Chair
see.
and members of the board. I'm Mark
Anyone
Wardlaw, Director
from the
of Land
public
Use
that's going to
Services
speak
and
on
Urban
this, I'd
Planning
be
Area
really
City Planner
curious.
Who has staffed this project. This item is an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of the tentative track map for the proposed Lovemore Ranch project. The applicant, as you've heard, is Axel Kramer. He's here today. The appeal was filed by the Morongo Basin Conservation Association, referred to hereafter as the appellant. Next slide. On January 23rd, 2025, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing to consider the tentative map 2443 to subdivide 18.49 acres into a 64 single-family residential lot subdivision with 3 lettered lots. This included a mitigated negative declaration in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act. 4 members of the public spoke in favor of the proposal. The Planning Commission considered and approved the project by a vote of 3-0 with 2 members absent. On February 3rd, 2025, staff received an appeal request filed by the appellant. The project site is located in the community of Joshua Tree, 1 mile south of 29 Palms. Joshua Tree National Park is shown in this slide by the area in green. The red star shows the entrance to the park. The general plan designation for the project site is low-density residential land use category, which allows a density range between 2 to 5 units per acre. The general plan was adopted in October of 2020. However, the comprehensive zoning update has not been completed, creating potential inconsistencies with general plan and development code. Board policy allows either designation to be used. In this case, the zoning would allow a higher density than the general plan. The applicant has chosen the lower density option to develop consistent with the general plan. The project site is also within the RS single residential zoning district, shown here in light orange. The minimum lot size for the RS zone is 7,200 square feet. An application for a tentative tract map is typically reviewed and approved by the Land Use Services Director in an administrative action. However, after receiving significant comments from surrounding neighbors, this decision was elevated to the Planning Commission. These slides show the context of the site, project looking north on Alta Roma Drive and east on Hillview Drive. The site has native vegetation, including western Joshua trees, parishes daisy, and creosote. The applicant's first application proposed to subdivide the site to create 75 single-family residential lots. The applicant revised the project to reduce the density to a 64 single-family lot subdivision, with lots ranging in size from 7,200 to 13,060 square feet. The project also includes 3 lettered lots. Lot A is a 22,651 square foot parcel containing a wastewater treatment system, on-site resident services, staff quarters, and communal utilities. Lot B is a 2.23 acre parcel in the center of the development containing an open space area, recreation space, and pool. And Lot C contains private roads and utilities. The project is consistent with both the general plan and the development code standards that apply. It meets a number of different policies ranging from land use policy 2.1 to transportation and emergency access 1.8.
All right, so it sounds like this is
met
going to
by
be a very
on-site parking,
controversial
setback requirements, as well
topic,
as height
and I did not realize that this meeting was
project is also
actually
subject to
4
housing
hours
affordability,
and 17
Housing
minutes.
Accountability Act
I was
requires
briefly
that
going
if the
over
project is market
the
ready
High
for
Desert
development, it
Stars
complies with
coverage of this topic,
objective general plan
and
code
they
standards,
said that
and
it was a
subdivisions
3-hour
is
discussion on
approved
this.
unless
So we will try
the
our
most
best to go
community
through
board
this, but
identified
I
significant gaps
will
if
not be spending 4 hours
In
here.
addition to the general plan and development code analysis, staff conducted a community compatibility analysis of the site and the surrounding neighborhood context. This site shows the aerial photo, and the site outlined in red is relatively flat without unusual topography that would result in recommendations for a different project design. We also evaluated lot and street pattern of the existing area and the proposed project, this to help identify if it was consistent in lot size and the configuration of streets. This shows the historical subdivision and street patterns. We found the project to be similar to the surrounding areas, which have been established since the 1950s. Staff also evaluated the surrounding building pattern. The slide on your left shows the configuration of buildings within the area, and the site outlined in red shows the proposed configuration. This building pattern, and then the slide on the right shows a 3D massing model. Staff found the project to be consistent with the form and pattern of the surrounding neighborhood. An initial study mitigated negative declaration was prepared and circulated to comply with the SEQRA mandated 30-day public review and comment period. We received one comment. The
Man,
mitigation
only
monitoring and reporting
30-day
program includes measures to
time
reduce
for
the
people
potential
to
impacts of the
review
project
and
to a level
form
below
an
significance
opinion
for the
on
following.
it?
Biological resources. Pre-construction surveys are required for burrowing owls, desert tortoise, and nesting birds. A take permit will be required for the removal of any western Joshua tree, and a stream bed alteration permit will be required prior to the issuance of any grading permit. Cultural resources. A survey will be required related to the discovery of artifacts or human remains, respectively. A qualified paleontologist monitor will be required to be on site regarding soils and geology. And then finally, a qualified Native American tribal monitor approved by the Morongo Band of Indians will be required to be on site. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the 23rd of January to consider the project. 3 members of the public provided comments pertaining to the development, and the project has been designed to be consistent with the countywide plan and development code for the approval of the tentative track map. With a vote of 302, with 2 commissioners absent, the commission approved the project as proposed, including the tentative track map, project findings, the mitigated negative declaration, and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. On February 3rd, 2025, the appellant filed an appeal of the project.
Marcella said
Their
the
overall
whole
concerns are
system
grouped
is
into 4
rigged.
main headings.
Yeah,
Submission of public comments
it
submitted in
is,
response
and
to
we're
proposals,
trying to
commission
change
attendance,
that
best practice
by
communication,
just
and proper noticing of
getting
the
as
initial
many
study
people
and notice of
informed
plan.
as possible, and
The
that's
general
what I'm
plan
trying to do
development
here with
purposes.
that stream. So please like this video
In
and
response to the first one, all
subscribe.
comment letters on the project that have been received by the county are
Definitely
included
leave a
in the board agenda
comment,
material for this item.
and
During the Planning
we're
Commission
going to see
hearing,
what
we
we could
failed to
do
notice 4 members of
as
the public
far
who we
as
believe have to
getting
be
more information out
provided
there
with written and
on
notice
what
of
our
the project.
government is
This board
doing in
hearing confirms that
our areas.
The appellant also states that the absence of the planning commissioner appointed by the 3rd District was material to the decision. At the January 23rd, 2025 public hearing, the planning commission had a quorum and was able to hold the public hearing and vote. The attendance of all members or select members for an item is not required. In terms of ex parte communications,
All right, we're going
those
to
that are disclosed,
fast forward through this.
public note or environmental evaluation of the propagation,
Not for us. Let's hear.
Thank you very much. I believe next we hear from the appellant. Is that correct? Okay.
What is Mr. Cook doing to her? Leave her alone. Why are they whispering?
Good morning. I believe you have 15 minutes. Our clerk has just stepped away. Are you got it? Okay.
Okay, come on. We got 15
Whenever
minutes.
you are ready.
All right.
Thank you, Nelson. Good morning, Supervisors. I am Steve Bardwell, the President of the Morongo Basin Conservation Association. There was inconsiderate and inadequate public notification during the review process. This is
Stop
not
Lovemore
advancing.
Ranch. Good for them.
Please adjust our time. There was inconsiderate and inadequate public notification during the review process. The project record given to the Planning Commission was incomplete and did not include substantive information that was first revealed last Friday. MBCA submitted 2 substantive comment letters in 2022 and 2024. These
Wow,
letters and
from
other
2022,
comment letters
this has been
from the
going on
community
for a
were not
while
included in the
then.
staff report. MBCA's August 2024 letter repeatedly requests clarity and notification of the CEQA process. Requests to the county for notification through the county's website did not result in any notification of the initial study comment period, nor the Planning Commission hearing.
Wow.
85
Interesting.
people, including Land Use Services staff, attended the developer's public meeting in August 2024. The vast majority were against the project. These 85 people were not at the Bob Burke Center because it was not open for public comment on January 23rd. This fact was misrepresented to the Planning Commission during the hearing. We did due diligence in requesting confirmation if the building was open and have received nothing beyond we could not ascertain, and we are looking into it. These actions show great disrespect to the community and to the planning commissioners and directly impacted the decision. From the recording of the Planning Commission hearing, we can see Chair Weldy. I'd like to provide a special welcome. My understanding is that we're using a remote today. So we have people joining us from the Bob Burke Center in Joshua Tree. I can't see you yet, but welcome to the process. Well, Weldy here saying, trolling around for additional comments. What's happening here? There we go. Trolling around here for additional comments. Do we hear anything from Joshua Tree? All right, well, my conscience is clear. From, Commissioner Gongora, the fact that I'm not seeing any comments today from our friends out in Joshua Tree is a huge message, and I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Man, but there was people waiting to talk, right?
In 2020, where they were planned for 31 lots. These half-acre plus lots would have been in the ballpark of being acceptable to the community. We were informed by the developer and the county planner that the county would only accept a denser project, so the project was revised. The county has no standing to demand a minimum density. The county misled the developer. This has harmed both the developer and the community. The county's development code, table 82-9C, residential land use zoning district development standards for the desert region, was left out of the staff report for this project. Per this table, there is no minimum density required for the RS zoning, and the maximum density is 4 units per acre. There is an inconsistency here between the general plan policies for low density in Joshua Tree and the land use category and the zoning. There is no county policy that prevents this development from becoming a 64-unit short-term rental resort. We believe the county remains deficient in removing STRs from the housing element.
Okay, so it seems like their concern is that it's just going to become a Airbnb paradise. Yeah, you're right, Marcella. Homie about to spill the tea with all the receipts. I mean, good for him. He came prepared. I can't say that much about the Lovemore people. Their presentation was boring. At least this has, like actual pictures, and it looked like they had timestamps on the videos of the people they're talking about. So yeah, let's keep seeing. But I'm pretty sure it's because
we do not accept
they don't want Airbnbs to overrun
These deficiencies mean the county's
this
housing
area.
element is out of compliance. We agree with the conclusion of the CEQA lawyer engaged by the Joshua Tree Village neighbors. The initial study violates CEQA because it does not include a stable and consistent description of the project. The county cannot have confidence in approving this project since there is no comprehensive project description nor accurate initial study. CEQA requires review of the entirety of the project, not a piecemeal approval. This is covered well in the lawyer's letters. We do not accept the county's assertion that the required CUPs are rolled into the project approval. The county has not reviewed the wastewater treatment facility or the recreation facilities in any detail. Further confusion, this 2024 permit application for Lovemore Ranch Phase 1 for a 2-story residence with an attached ADU. An ADU too? What? With the legal findings that you are being asked to approve today, we found the inconsistencies, especially surrounding the wastewater treatment facility. Finding number 6 claims it is tentatively approved.
All right. So now that he mentioned ADUs, which stands for accessory dwelling unit, it's just basically a second living space in your home or on your property, or your garage was you converted your garage to no longer hold cars and you want to rent it out to people. That's what an ADU would be considered. So it's real interesting that first it was supposed to just be single family housing in this Lovemore Ranch real estate thing. But now that they're opening it up to saying that, you could also have ADUs in there too. I mean, then that's a whole can of worms for Airbnb. I mean, Airbnb is great for the people who use it. Maybe not so great for the people whose neighbors own those properties. There's a lot of those types of cabins and housing and town timeshares. Last Board of Supervisor meeting, there was a whole debacle of vacant timeshares being sold off because the county didn't know who was living there, and their own neighbors didn't even know if they were timeshares or if they were, Airbnbs. No one's living there. So I get it. I get how this community could be upset. I don't know how many people are using Airbnbs as long-term housing, But, I don't think anyone wants to see it going like that. And if Airbnb is the future of long-term housing, I don't think the people of Inland Empire want that. So yeah, it's crazy. I was looking in the subreddit for Joshua Tree, and some people had some pretty concerned comments about this development, saying that it's actually in a flood basin. So, probably not the biggest loss for homeowners who plan to live in there. I mean, that not the biggest loss for people who plan to buy these properties and use them as Airbnbs, because it's not their main housing. I mean, they're where they personally live. So it wouldn't be that big of a loss to them. But if it was for actual people who want to buy and own a house in Joshua Tree as their main living space, then that would suck. That's a really bad place to build if it is in a floodplain.
Yet, in finding number 8, it reports the facility is approved. We have confirmation from the County Environmental Health Services, the Water Quality Control Board, the Joshua Basin Water District, that minimal contact has occurred with the developer and there are no approvals. Finding number 8 is factually incorrect. There is further confusion in finding number 8. If the project is for 64 lots or 64 dwelling units, is it for 112 plus dwelling units? Does this include ADUs? Finding number 8 states the developer has applied to establish 64 dwelling units. For how many units is the wastewater treatment facility sized? We do not know, because there is no there. This project will require complete grading of the site. With a 60-foot slope down the site, we do not believe any area will be able to remain intact. 60,000 cubic yards of grading is clear, cutting every plant, root system, every animal burrow, and every anthill, creating potential dust and creating harm to the surrounding community.
That is very
Imagine
true.
6,000 concrete trucks full of dirt. That is the amount they are moving around the site. Yet the developer touts this as a sustainable project. The initial study and the review of this project is inaccurate, inadequate, and irresponsible
they
in
got the
addressing
floodplains that I was
destruction of
just
the
talking
project site
about.
and the potential harm to the community's character, health, safety, and well-being. Nelson Day of the Joshua Tree Village Neighbors will take it from here.
Hello, my name is Nelson Day. I'm a Joshua Tree local and a registered professional mechanical engineer. I'm going to be discussing the wastewater treatment plant and the stormwater report. As a local, when the project owner said they would be installing a wastewater treatment facility, I wanted to know more about this facility. The project owner has provided no information to anyone regarding this wastewater treatment plant. There's currently no information available on the facility design, operations, or costs. How much money will each household pay for treatment operational costs? If only 5 of these houses sell in our declining market, will the sewage plant even run? And will the operational costs be affordable for the 5 homeowners? Where will the 20,000 gallons of treated wastewater disappear to each day? What happens during maintenance outages at the sewage treatment plant? Will existing houses be flooded with sewage? Most sewage treatment plants are a minimum of 500 feet from existing houses, streets, and riverbeds. The project housing density hinges on a wastewater treatment facility. The lot sizes shown on the approved site map are much too small to have an individual housing septic tank. Furthermore, none of the water agencies involved have any information about the treatment facility and has not been approved by anyone. The proposed location of the sewage plant is 30 feet from an existing house. Would you want a sewage treatment plant of unknown design 30 feet from your residence? For such a pivotal part of the project, no information is available to anyone about its specifics, not even the county. On April 4th, MBCA discovered an errata to the hydrology study. This revision was not publicly posted until April 4, when the agenda for the hearing was released. The revision completely changes the initial study's analysis and conclusions without notice to the public or for public review. Changing the project description or design after Planning Commission approval is a clear CEQA violation. The errata indicates on-site stormwater detention, which was not included or indicated on the Planning Commission approved site map. In the errata, the county has stated the detention pond will be positioned next to the wastewater treatment facility, which seems like a terrible idea to the locals. Of note, the property has a 6% slope, which is not relatively flat or even ADA compliant. The slope will create stormwater issues. While we support and demand a hydrology study revision, we are basing our comments today on the only provided erroneous hydrology study currently published at the Land Use Services website dated May 30 and approved by the Planning Commission. We'll be going through some errors discovered in the original hydrology report. One of the Joshua Tree Village neighbors, Cody Briggs, is a registered civil engineer with stormwater design experience, and he has confirmed these observed errors. On the hydrology report, the undeveloped land size is shown as 21.1 acres. The developed land size is shown as 18.9 acres. How big is the land? Did it shrink? The hydrology study
That
indicates
is
the amount
very
of
good
water will
point
be
he
absorbed by the
raised.
soil pre and post development is the same. What about the additional impervious surfaces? The study even claims less water will run off of the land post development, 88% to be exact, which is precisely how much the land shrunk from 21 to 18 acres according to the report. Now I'll be handing it off to my neighbor. Go ahead and skip. Oh, actually, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Good morning. I am Elizabeth Pfau, Joshua Tree homeowner and founder of the Joshua Tree Village Neighbors. My issues with Lovemore are both deeply personal and universal for 3 reasons: the wastewater treatment facility, failure of notification, and land use communication problems. Lovemore continually makes false claims such as water has been approved for a wastewater treatment facility, but this is not true. Lovemore claims their tract map fits our town's density. As you can see in this picture, that is not true. In our small town, there is only one wastewater treatment facility. As you can see, it is 1,000 feet from one home and 1,500 feet from the other, 2 homes. That's it.
Wow.
This is a picture of my friend standing 30 feet from my home on the proposed site of the wastewater treatment facility, surrounded by vulnerable homes. Too close for comfort. At 50 feet, this will ruin the quality of life for every single resident on my street. Ruined? In what way, you ask? There have been 5 flash flood events in Joshua
Whoa.
Tree area in the past 5 years alone.
Look at that.
Stormwater.
The flash flood took the whole car. And he's walking. He's walking on top of the dried mud that was probably a big wash of water and debris that just sucked this car away. And it's completely buried. Completely buried. I want to say the car is a Mini Cooper or a PT Cruiser, but I'm not sure. But I think it's a Mini Cooper. That sucks. Wow. And this happened in 2020. And then there was another mudslide in 2014. That's crazy. Yup. See, these are the things. And they're right about moving, removing all that plants and different vegetation that's there. That's so important to the entire ecosystem where, all of those root systems hold the dirt together. So yeah, moving that amount of land would, could cause detrimental things. So man, that whole car is just gone.
Plus wastewater is lethal. How is it possible that I was not notified of these 6 major project events? We surveyed the homeowners and neighbors to ask if they were notified in any way. On multiple
Wow.
events, over 70% of affected neighbors were not notified, and 87% were not notified of the Planning Commission in-person hearing on January 23rd, 2025. Not received, not received, not received.
Wow, so it was letters
This
that
is
were
what people
mailed
told
out
us,
then,
and I
not
quote,
even post in the
"Oversaturation of
newspaper.
high-end vacation homes. County seemed to bulldozer over everything I brought up. This project is so wrong for this location. Our town does not have the resources to support it. Sneaky and deceitful. Transparency seems to be an issue. Too large for our town, for our community to absorb responsibly. Wastewater treatment failure will be a massive issue. There are more comments in your printouts." Oops, why isn't it going forward? Here's an example of my land use communications. On 3 dates in September, I emailed project planner Ron Cruz regarding CEQA project times, dates, and procedures. After sending 3 emails, I received the following reply. The project is in third-party CEQA review. Once the CEQA review is complete, the document will be publicly routed for comments. Then a planning commission hearing will be scheduled. At that hearing, anyone who wants to comment will have the ability to do so. The planning commission is an independent body, and they will make a determination on the project after considering county departments' comments and public comments. Meanwhile, on October 1st, me, writing to Ron Cruz, "Is there a way to track the CEQA for this project?" October 17th, me, "Will you please update me on the latest set of questions?" Meanwhile, the 30-day CEQA open comment period was occurring, during which I sent on October 28th, me, "Mr. Cruz, are you still there? Is it possible to get some answers?" Then on January 5th, me, "What is the update on the project? I recently learned the CEQA had an open comment period we were not informed of." This is typical of the opaque and careless communications
Wow,
with land
she's
use and
got
planning since
hard
my first email
evidence
to Irene Romero in
that,
2022.
she
As a
tried to
citizen,
reach out to them
taxpayer,
and they
and
just
neighbor, I have the
ghosted
right to
her,
be
it sounds
notified and
like.
informed with respect and integrity. In closing, I am outraged on behalf of the greater Joshua Tree community.
Aw, her
Respectfully,
voice is
please
shaking.
Send this back to the Planning Commission. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Oh, she put her whole heart into that.
Thank you very much. Next, we will have the project applicant.
Oh my God, they're not even going to have any comments on it. Board of Supervisors, you're just going to listen back to the Lovemore Ranch developers? Wild.
Good morning, gentlemen. You will have 15 minutes for your presentation when you're ready to begin.
Good morning. Honorable Chair, Honorable Board of Supervisors, esteemed staff, appealing body, and general public, we are honored and excited to share the Lovemore
I'm
Ranch
sorry.
project.
I
in the holistic
gotta
community in Joshua Tree,
say
California.
something about this dude's outfit. What is this? His tie? Homie, you work for a company and your tie is this long? That's some Donald Trump stuff right there. Okay, I'm not gonna say more other than this long strand of hair, but you know, at some point you just gotta grab the clippers, homie, and just shave it. But you know, I mean, that tie. Whew. All right, let's get into it. Lovemore Ranch representatives, I'm sorry I hit you with the hate early on, but like, what is that tie?
Ranch project, a holistic community in Joshua Tree, California. So today, the staff has done a tremendous job to present to you the verifiable facts, as backed up in over 20 plus studies conducted by licensed professionals. And they've clarified each issue brought up by the appellant. It is my intent to tell you about our team, our vision, our outreach, our design, and our other actions so that you may confidently uphold the unanimous decision made by the Planning Commission on January 23rd to approve this project. Our mission is to lead the way with an innovative community development tailored to the unique environment, people, and role of Joshua Tree. The idea is to go beyond simply doing less harm toward what we call generative development, which engages, balances outcomes, and is a net good thing for all key stakeholders, including the plants and animals, community, county, residents, staff, supply chain, builders, and investors.
He's saying that the stakeholders are plants and animals? I'm sorry. Okay. All right, here, Mr. Axel Kramer, Development Manager, Lovemore Group CEO. We'll look into a little bit more about him, but I have a deep sinking feeling that he's one of those performative libs who just does, green things. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna go in with an open mind.
As the current steward, owner, and development manager of this project, my number one job is to rigorously vet and then support an exceptional and mission-aligned team. The firms that comprise our development team hold over 100 combined years in business, marrying global thought leadership with the wisdom of local consultants across every aspect of sustainable development. Here today, in case you have any technical questions, is our local civil engineer. If you could please stand, my team. Geotechnical and special inspection firm, landscape architect, principal architect,
They're not even showing them on the screen.
Biology consultant, and community gardening partner, each of whom was hired because of their long-term interest and dedication to this area and to deeply understanding its uniqueness in relation to their work. As for me, I'm a fifth-generation Southern California native. I've been coming out to Joshua Tree for nearly 10 years now, climbing, hiking, sleeping out under the stars. And my inspiration for doing this project is because I love this place. It's my happy place where I'm part of an incredible community. And I want to share it in the deep way that I've gotten to experience it with others and in a way that sustains it far into the future. I, as with my whole team, am in this for the long term. I look forward to living in one of the units we build and sharing it with my friends and family for generations to come. As you know, Joshua Tree is at the confluence of the high Mojave and the low Colorado deserts, which makes it a unique wonder of the world across its biology and landscape. It's now the 9th most visited national park with over 3.3 million visitors and $186 million spent in 2023, over half of that on lodging and recreation alone. Over 75% of those visitors we estimate to enter through the West Park entrance, which is just a 5-minute drive from Lovemore. Lovemore is also a 2-minute drive from the blossoming downtown area. The 18.9 acres at Lovemore Ranch is the last developable, single residential zoned property over 5 acres within a 10-mile radius of Joshua Tree National Park's west entrance. The existing zoning and general plan is consistent with our proposed density. In fact, our density is at the very low end of the allowable range for a tentative map. This is in order to leave space for a large landscape preserve in the middle of the property to focus on a livable, walkable lifestyle. Approximately 30% of the entire site will either be protected or restored to native and naturalized landscape, and we will preserve over 3...
Wait, okay, first off, he said a livable and walkable area. I don't know too much about Joshua Tree, but I don't know how much of their community is walkable. Second, he said restore the land back to natural things. Homie, why don't you just not develop the land? Develop around it. I don't know. Does there really need to be like 57? I keep finding, 57 lots, okay? Max of 114 lots. So they don't even know how many homes they want to build on there. Yeah, Marcella, you're right. I feel like that dude is not living in one of these homes, especially I don't know how small they're going to be. But yeah, 64 lots. Wild. Oh, focus on a livable and walkable lifestyle. Hold on. I guess we need to pull up a map of this place to really look at where the nearest grocery store is.
3 times as much native landscape as our similarly zoned neighbor in Joshua Tree. This is by virtue of the master plan, where we're able to have higher density on the outskirts and absolutely no density in parts of the project. Furthermore, the property is outside of major seismic and flood zones. It's in a minimal risk fire area. There are minimal Joshua trees, no protected wildlife, no significant arroyos, and our CEQA initial study received a mitigated negative declaration and passed through the initial public notice period in minimum time with no significant comments. There was one comment, but there were no comments deemed significant.
What? There was one comment, but no comments deemed significant. What does that mean? Who are these people? Who are these people that put together this presentation? Is that not a significant comment? It sounds fishy. Sounds really fishy.
About getting in touch and staying in touch with all key stakeholders of this community. Over the last 4.5 years, we've knocked on doors and been in touch with hundreds of community members and many key groups. As mentioned, last August we hosted a town hall where we invited those key stakeholder groups.
What? They did an AMA? Did they do a Reddit Ask Me Anything? Or only 30 attendance? That's wild. Someone's story is not lining up here. That's all I can say.
With over 75 total attendees, plus our entire team drove or flew out, and we were able to engage one-on-one. As was mentioned in 2 local newspapers, we heard a full spectrum of great feedback from the community about the proposed project. We responded to that feedback and did change portions of our landscape plan to emphasize even more the native and naturalized landscape. This has been incredibly helpful and crucial to our design process. For those who could not attend, we hosted a virtual Ask Me Anything, where about 30 people attended. At the session, we hosted a live Q&A and answered frequently asked questions we'd received from the town hall and the community forum. Our effort to engage the community really started in 2020 when I purchased the property. I went door to door to every one of my neighbors to discuss the project.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Homie was doing that pandemic. We need to move out and stay away from people. I can't live in LA anymore. I need to move to the desert. So that way I can still, do all my social things without getting COVID. That makes sense. So we knocked on every neighbor's door since acquisition in 2020. I wonder how much he bought the land for. Week 0, there was 10. So he's saying that it was a dumping lot, and there was people using drugs, and there was dirt bike happening on the land. Okay. All right. Oh man. All right. It makes sense.
For those who came to their door and spoke with me, their main concern was securing and stewarding the property. In the previous owner's absence, the site had become a place for people to party, do drugs, and dirt bike through at 2 a.m., not to mention to dump their trash. My friend and I personally cleaned up over 10,000 pounds of trash, spending hours picking the shards of plastic through the shredded cholla, and secured the property, and we haven't had a problem since. We also studied the 2007 Joshua Tree Community Plan and its 35 goals and 158 sub-goals in order to come up with our design principles. And we provided a detailed website and community forum over 9 months ago with project information, making people aware of the website via social media, county public notice letters, the town hall, and our Ask Me Anything. And I've responded individually to each message we received via our community forum in detail. At the Planning Commission on January 23rd, locals supported the project by attending virtually at the Bob Burke Center in Joshua Tree. We did have 1 attendee at the center, and it was open, as can be further clarified by your staff. And 5 community members even drove to the chambers here in San Bernardino County to support. As mentioned, a few passionately testified. In contrast, no one showed up to oppose the project, despite ample noticing and unprecedented opportunities for testimony. Additionally,
Something's
prior to
not
the Planning
lining up.
Commission, more than 20 local individuals wrote letters of support to the county. Since then, we've received even more letters of support, now with over 40 letters. Got these letters right here. 15 of these letters, well, first I'll say most of these letters are from locals to the Morongo Basin, but over 15 of these letters state that they want to buy a home at Lovemore Ranch. We are keenly
Interesting.
aware of previous projects that have failed in the community, and our vast amount
there
of
was other
outreach over the
projects
last
that
4.5
failed?
years was intentional
Interesting.
in order to listen to the community
Interesting.
and be responsive in our design to its feedback. We've worked incredibly hard to dispel misinformation and rumors, but of course, some people won't like the project. We feel very proud of our outreach over the last 4.5 years and to receive the incredible support that we have. I'd now like to introduce you to our design solution. We distilled everything that we'd learned from our outreach, from the Joshua Tree Community Plan, and of course from our stalwart team to arrive at 5 design pillars that help guide our decisions and help us set smart goals toward achieving our mission. These are nature, sanctuary, community, lifelong learning, and to be a model for sustainable development in the high desert. I'll now hand it over to Mauricio Espinosa, our principal architect on the project. Mauricio is a professor of sustainable organic architecture. He's built multiple ground-up projects in our desert, often in partnership with some of our other consultants.
Thanks, Axel. Honorable Chair, honorable board members. As we've seen already, we have 64 single-family homes planned for Joshua Tree. We have at the center of the project a 1.5-acre botanical preserve, a welcome center just left of that botanical preserve off of the entry, which is that sort of brownish color on the left. The north side has a community and wellness center just north. The top northeast corner is our area for sport courts, pickleball, things of that sort, as well as a state-of-the-art on-site sewage treatment facility in the northeast corner. We are doing what's called a contained grading strategy, which means that there's no significant import or export of soil. As we've seen, the zoning allows for a density of roughly 6 dwelling units per acre, and the design concept is to develop half of that density in favor of providing amenities to the community, maintaining and reestablishing existing vegetation and landscape. Over 30% of the entire site will be protected or restored to native and naturalized landscaping. The unit density creates open space opportunities, things like outdoor living, walking, bicycling, and preserve areas. The residential landscape complements the architecture and offers numerous seating areas, things like fire pits and other types of outdoor amenities. Landscaping throughout the site will be water-efficient, native, and naturalized planting types. And we plan to protect and replace existing Joshua trees per county established policies. The architectural design reflects the existing conditions of the site, thereby reducing the grading and overall impact. You can see here a kind of side yard elevation of that architectural assemblage. Each house is approximately 1,600 square feet in a one-story configuration plus a garage space. We're utilizing sustainable design principles known as passive house design, which combines passive heating and cooling technologies that minimize energy usage and utility impacts, not to mention health benefits.
Special districts, third-party horizontal costing consultant.
Cherno, who will be followed.
Incredibly helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we will now go on to our public comment. Our first request to speak is Ryan Letourneau, who will be followed by Glenn Olson. We have podiums on either side up in the back. You have 3 minutes to speak. When the light flashes orange, that's a 30-second warning, and when it's red, it's the end of your time.
Sorry. Good morning, Board of Supervisors and members of the Joshua Tree community. Firstly, I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to the members of MBCA and Joshua Tree Village Neighbors for their actual community outreach and involvement. It has been inspiring to see the township come together against this development, and I hope the board recognizes how unpopular this project is throughout the entire town. While I could spend time echoing why the goals JTVN has listed for redesigning this project are so important, I thought it would be more interesting to recount my recent email interactions with Mr. Kramer. My partner and I have only recently in the last year moved into a house less than a quarter mile from this project, and we're frankly appalled at the scope and design of this massive development for the area. And as I knew this appeal was coming up, I decided to email Mr. Kramer directly about my concerns on outreach, density.
All right, so I pulled up the plot of land. Kind of wild. I mean, if you take a look at it, this is like on this one road. It's from Alta Loma Drive and Sunset Road. It's this square right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 houses on the top row. I do not know how they plan to fit 64 houses in this section. That's pretty insane. It's going to be very high density.
Before my time is up, I would also like to bring attention to the attachment E, page 6, section 4 of this appeal. This is the document containing responses from Lovemore Ranch to community concerns. This particular concern is over if this project could become a short-term rental resort And in Lovemore's response, they make no commitment that that project could not become just that. And I sent Axel 3 separate messages asking what his market for this development was. Who was he trying to sell this community to? Who was actually interested in these homes as primary residences? He dodged this question every time. And I ask again, is it really so hard to make a public commitment to your future neighbors that this will not become a short-term rental resort in the middle of residential neighborhoods? Thank you for
Yeah,
your time.
I think that's a very
Thank you very much.
justifiable
Our next request to
question.
speak is Glenn Olson, followed by Jason Lewis. Do we have Glenn Olson? All right, we'll move on to Jason Lewis, who will be followed by Janet Johnston.
My name is Jason Lewis. In 1991, I moved to Joshua Tree. Shortly after, met my wife, and we've been married for now over 30 years. Raised our family in the desert, 2 kids in their 20s. I've had a business for the last 25 years.
Oh, he sounds like a
And
real
I'm in support of
community
this
guy.
project in Joshua Tree. I feel like Joshua Tree
Oh.
needs more housing. I know some people feel like, how could locals afford this? My wife and I, a few years ago, recently decided to buy a new construction home. I know many people, many couples I've worked with have great jobs and can afford these homes, my wife and I included. But also in doing so, we sold our other home to a nice young couple that had their first baby on the way. So they were able to take advantage of a home that was a little older while we bought a new construction home. I feel like it's also going to bring a lot of economic benefits to the community.
Marcella, yes, Marcella said also they didn't even mention anyone can afford these homes. That's why it makes so much sense to turn them into rentals. Exactly. I suspect that if they are expensive, they will be bought up by investment, people who see them as investment opportunities. It seems like even this gentleman was interested in it being an investment opportunity, since he mentioned that he upgraded his home. But I don't know. It's seems like it's very hot topic. I tend to stand in support of the residents that are already there. And just by looking at the size of the land and seeing the homes that are already on there, it just doesn't make sense how it's going to fit. Like even these homes that seem a little bit on smaller properties that's like a street away, they still have good sized yards, and I don't know how many homes are going to fit here. So it's 64 or whatever, 57 does not seems like too much. Especially if these are like, first single story homes. I don't know if they're 2-story. I guess we could look real quick. Street view. No, they're single story homes. So, yeah. All right, let's continue on.
Perea.
Janet Johnston. I have lived in Joshua Tree for over 25 years, raised our family there, built homes there, and am one of the directors of the Morongo Basin Conservation Association. I drive by this project site on a daily basis, navigating the dangerous intersections of Altaloma Drive. It is bewildering how we are here again. This community has worked hard for decades to make it clear that we love and will protect the desert. You are not the steward of the land when you are going to blade your entire 18-acre lot. That is bewildering. We've worked hard to make sure that this protection of the desert and Joshua Tree was codified into the general plan, the development code, even into the community action guide after the loss of our beloved community plans. It needs work, but that protection is indeed in these documents to protect us from such an inconsistent project as this. It is bewildering how the developers and the county do not seem to address that there is a big slope to deal with on the site. They are trying to shoehorn 14 or 15 lots running downhill with a 61-foot drop over 900 running feet. It means you have a 4-foot drop or bench cut and a retaining wall between each flat building lot. That is a 6% slope, which also means water travels fast over it. It is bewildering that the staff still is saying in the report that it is a relatively flat site. It's not flat. It is bewildering how the original hydrology report was treating this like a flat piece of paper for lot sales. Then we have the 11th hour report correction that then plonks down the floodwater detention basin right next to the wastewater treatment facility and the sea beach pits. Really? What is the size and clearances, and how many sea beach pits does this project need? All unknown. And it's bewildering how you would even start this design without knowing these crucial details. That is step one. It is bewildering that no one has done a math on this project just to meet construction costs at a low cost per square foot of maybe 300 a square foot, which I don't even think is possible anymore, especially with tariffs. You're looking at least $1 million.
Okay.
Just the math of $1 per square foot cost times the square footage puts you over $1 million. Then you roll in amortizing the cost of the roads, waste treatment facility, construction of the recreation building that we know nothing about, the staff home profit, you're up to at least $1,200,000 range per home. And how much will the HOA fees be to cost to maintain the water facility, the staff, the roads? At least $1,000
I
a
didn't even
month,
think
probably
about
$2,000.
that.
Between mortgage and HOA fees, you're looking at $5,500 a month
That's
at a
time.
minimum.
Dang,
Alicia
clerk of the
or
board got
Alicia
her.
Perea, followed by Elena Hansen.
All right, let's see who else. I mean, we're not even halfway through the video, and it's already...
Good morning. Thank you for hearing us. My name is Alicia Perea. I'd first like to acknowledge the Native American that this project is proposed. The Morongo Band of Indians, Chemehuevi, Serrano, Cahuilla. As part Native American myself, I have been drawn to the high desert to live a quality of life that acknowledges nature, animals, space, clean air, clean water, to be able to see the stars at night.
Good
Mr.
for her.
Kramer, you have expressed the same sentiments, and yet I don't see how this project aligns with that wanting quality of life. You have expressed you love to come out here to climb, see the stars at night. What are 64 homes surrounding you? How is that going to impact you looking at the stars at night?
You know, she does have a point there. She really does have a point there. Mr. Kramer, homie with the homie with the messed up tie. Yeah, this, I mean, if it's going to be 64 homes in such a small spot, it's gonna create a lot of light pollution. Again, you know, even if all the units or homes are not taken, it's gonna be a big change. She has a very good point that, you know, she moved up to Joshua Tree for a certain type of living, and I can understand that a lot of people like that, but that's what you go camping for. You know, if you want to do an Airbnb, get a bigger property that is not, you know, just going to turn into, you know, a short-term resort, you know, a getaway weekend. That's what hotels are for. If he wants to do that, if that's the type of business he envisions coming, and not just some sort of rug pull where, you know, he creates a bunch of properties and sells them at high value, because let's be real, everywhere in California is about to get crazy in value, because we're just running out of land. You know, the Inland Empire used to be considered, you know, the trashy part of LA. You know, people left LA to go to the Inland Empire because they wanted more land space and cheaper housing. That's no longer a reality anymore. You know, so now it's moving up to the high desert, you know, where people who live in the Inland Empire that can't afford to live and work here, or maybe they work in LA, are now having to move to the high desert or to the mountains, or to, you know, even further out past Yucaipa. You know, it's a serious issue. And, you know, I don't know how much these homes are going to be sold for, but if they're really tiny and just not a good value, then yeah, they might turn into rentals, because the only people that can afford to buy these homes are people who, you know, can afford to have it sitting in an investment portfolio getting rented out every so often. You know, when some poor person like me wants to go out and have fun in in Joshua Tree, you know, I'll look for an Airbnb. You know, and it's like, is that really the best alternative? You know, a cheap Airbnb that is surrounded by residential housing, you know, that's being treated as a hotel. Like, I can totally see these people's concerns. All right, let's continue with the lady.
The other thing, as a resident for the last 5 years here, the transparency of this process. As a resident, I'm not 300 feet away, but I live in the village of Joshua Tree. I have been not notified of these meetings and these processes, and it's appalling to me that we are affected by it and we are not notified. The waste sewage treatment is appalling, especially as this project, if anybody lives in Joshua Tree, there is an arroyo going directly to the west of this project that has flooded Highway 62 on numerous occasions. What is a sewage treatment plant in the pathway of the floodwaters going to do to those of us who are downstream of this? I'd like to thank my neighbors, and it's a quality of life. And Joshua Tree does not have the infrastructure for a project of this density. Please reconsider, Mr. Kramer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Elena Hansen, followed by Rye Rockland.
Hello, my name is Elena Hansen, and I have had a home in Joshua Tree for 15 years. I am confused. I come from the East Coast, and I've encountered situations like this before, and I was always informed. I'm actually still getting informed, and I'm not even living there anymore about things going on. I have not heard one thing. I've had to fight to get information about this project, and I'm not alone. Our community is small. We can barely take care of what we have. We're already overwhelmed with people who come up on the weekends to stay. You can't even get in town or get into a restaurant on Saturday or Sunday because there's so many people who don't need more people. I don't think that it just won't work. And we need affordable housing in Joshua Tree, not wealthy people coming in and, I don't know, renting out their homes. We have so many short-term rentals in Joshua Tree right now that you could probably get a fancy home for $90 a night with a pool and a jacuzzi because there are too many of them. Not enough people come to stay in them. We don't need more housing. Please reconsider. Have you been to Joshua Tree, any of you? Please go and look and see how terrible this project will affect our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Rye Rockland, followed by Levon Kazarian.
Good morning, Chairman Rao and the Honorable Board of Supervisors. It's a real honor to be here today. I moved to Joshua Tree in 2020 with my wife and child. It's been an absolute pleasure living there, being surrounded by a really great community. I am excited to be here before you to be part of, hopefully, the decision-making that goes on as a member of this community. And I'm deeply committed to I'm really not in favor of Lovemore Ranch because it was absolutely, it's a real threat to our community. It wasn't, we really didn't receive notification. I was at the meeting in August, and we all were against, so many of us were against it, and I've talked to everybody who was at that meeting, and no one was told about the Planning Commission vote. I feel like this project has absolutely gone under the radar, so it could be passed by the Planning Commission. I feel it's a threat to our community. One, I don't see how they're gonna sell all these homes. Nobody moves to Joshua Tree to live in a microchip development. They've moved to Joshua Tree for the stars, for the space, for a nice house. I know there's plenty of homes being built, and actually I'm not at all against development. I understand we need more homes in California, and I'm delighted to see all the interesting architecture that's going up in our community. But this project in particular is so out of whack when it comes to what the
So out of
precedent is in our
whack, he
community.
said.
I mean, a wastewater treatment plant built in the center of town. This thing is crazy. Axel, I see you looking at me. Please reconsider. Please lower the density. If I were you, I'd be scared stiff. You're never going to sell these houses. It's atrocious. Nobody wants this. So please, you guys, please, I beg of you, reconsider.
He will sell the houses. He will sell the houses. Someone will buy the houses.
It's a beautiful place. I want to share it, but this is really egregious. Thank you.
Thank you. Levon Kazarian, followed by Stacy Doolittle.
Good morning, Supervisors, Chair Rao. My name's Levon Kazarian. I've lived in Joshua Tree for 15 years. I'm a small business owner. I can hear it already. I heard it in those comments on the Planning Commission. You know, those crazy Joshua Tree people, they complain about everything. They complain they don't have enough housing. Then a developer comes along and wants to build 64 homes, and they complain about that too. That stereotype is wrong. We do want housing. We do want growth. We just want it done wisely and consistent with the spirit and the letter of the existing development code and the High Desert Community Action Guide. This project is not consistent with either. Planning staff's report was full of errors, and Mr. Kramer's proposal should be rejected outright or sent back to planning so the staff can redo their homework and get it right. I just want everyone to remember that during the short-term rental, the report put out by planning was full of errors. They needed a do-over to get it right. So would not be unprecedented for planning to put out incorrect information. When you read Mr. Kramer's PowerPoint, he claims he's required, and I heard it from the planning, to build at least 57 homes and could build over 114. So his proposal of 64 is, that seems reasonable. But here's the thing, as was in the MBCA demonstration, there's actually no minimum density requirement for the Desert and Development Code. Staff got that wrong. And, so a lower density, 30, 45 homes, would comply with, anyway, you know what I mean. I think there should be less homes, as Mr. Kramer's original proposal had. Plopping in second, a huge, dense suburban gated community in the middle of an existing low-density neighborhood, blading the entire property, removing most of all of the native vegetation, having no buffer space around development. All these things violate both the spirit and the letter of the Community Action Guide. And rather than go through all the details, I just want to make a larger point. You took away our max, you took away our community plan,
You hired these expensive consultants who came to our community and made us do these word cloud things. And now it seems like staff hasn't
Word
even
cloud.
read the guide that they produced. Why did you spend all that money and make us do word clouds when you're just going
Word
to ignore
clouds.
the guide that they
Homie's
produced?
mad about word
Finally, my
clouds,
cousins
and
came
I
from Chicago to
agree.
visit.
I'm
They were
here
staying in a
for
big
it.
short-term rental house in Indio run by Avantstay, a large vacation rental corporation that already has a presence in Big Bear and Josh Street. It was a gated community. Every home beyond the gate was a short-term rental. No one actually lived there. Every single home was built for the express purpose of being a micro hotel. Mr. Kramer's proposal looks tailor-made for that kind of business model. I fear that what we're really talking about here is a large dispersed hotel in a central Joshua Tree residential neighborhood. And since this board refused to put a cap on short-term rental permits, like most every other resort community in the country has done, there is nothing stopping these homes from immediately becoming a corporate hotel in the heart of Joshua Tree. Mr. Kramer's original proposal of 30-something homes without a gate, leaving open
That's
space.
time.
Dang.
Thank you. And I apologize. Our lighted system for some reason is not working today. So our clerk will announce when you have 30 seconds left and then at the end of the 3 minutes. So Stacy will have you up next, followed by David Dodge.
Supervisors and members of the public, my name is Stacy Doolittle. I serve as an elected member of the Vice President of the Board of Directors for the Joshua Basin Water District and also the Morongo Basin Conservation Association, which I represent today. I have lived in Joshua Tree for 16 years and have been deeply engaged in civic life and environmental advocacy throughout that time. I'm not anti-development. I'm a capitalist. Do you hear me? I'm a capitalist who understands the economic engines that sustain communities. But I also know ill-conceived
Did everyone get that? She's a capitalist. Did everyone hear that? She's a capitalist.
projects when I see them, and the Lovemore Ranch proposal is precisely that. I hope you hear me on this. There is a spirit in Joshua Tree, an intangible but undeniable force that brings joy and wonder to our residents and to the thousands of tourists who travel here seeking reprieve from urban chaos. That spirit is fragile, and preserving it falls directly under your mandate as supervisors. It's on you. You cannot and must not evaluate Joshua Tree the same way you evaluate Fontana, Victorville, or Yucaipa. We are a distinctly different place, and that distinctiveness is.
Well, I hate to break this lady's dreams, but does she not see how the Board of Supervisors treat Bloomington? Because it sounds like Joshua Tree is getting treated like Bloomington. So, Miss Ma'am, I implore you to investigate how the Board of Supervisors have operated over the past few years that they have. I'm really sorry that this is finally happening to you and you're having to experience it firsthand. But hopefully I'm here to answer some questions, to, let you know that this is nothing new and that you will probably have to be up here again to complain.
Is a county asset. The quietude, the wildlife, the native desertscape, the quirky, modest charm of our neighborhoods, these are not happenstance things. They are the very reasons people move here.
The quirky charms do not make money. I hate to say that, but, investment properties make money. So all very good arguments, just in the wrong way, I think.
Visit here, invest here. But thoughtless, formulaic development, like generic chain stores and oversized gated enclaves, such as Lovemore Ranch, threatens to erase all of it.
Does she not know that we have nothing but, chain restaurants in Fontana, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Riverside? It's all chains.
My road, Sunny Hill, is the last paved street before sunset when traveling east. It will now become a shortcut for the over 120 new residents living less than a mile away. That impact was utterly ignored in the traffic impact analysis. So was the strain and safety considerations on Altaloma, a road already under increasing pressure. A full level of service study is not a suggestion, it is a requirement. This is not about one street. It is about a pattern of dismissiveness toward the wishes of the people who actually live here.
30 seconds remaining.
The Planning Commission has a
terrible.
duty not to rubber stamp developer interests, but to engage fully with the voices of the community. As you see, they have not done that. I urge you, hear our appeal. Demand that the Planning Commission perform its due diligence. Demand a higher standard, one that respects the uniqueness of Joshua Tree and the people who call it home. Please do not approve the mitigated negative declaration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. David Dodge, followed by Pamela Garcia.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and board members. Thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing this opportunity to, as a community member, make a comment on this development. My name is David Dodge, as I mentioned.
Agreed.
I live at 61579 Altaloma
She did
Drive,
a good
directly
job.
south and west
I
of
was
the
just
proposed
picking on
development, and
her
I've lived
for
at this
her
location for
pointing
11
out that she
years.
was a
I've been a
capitalist,
resident of
and
Joshua Tree for
you
9
know,
years
do
for
you
a total
hear
of
me? I'm a
20 years.
capitalist.
I'm very concerned and
It's just
distressed by
like,
the plans for this development. The reason
is that
I came
going to
out
make
Joshua
the Board
Tree
of
from
Supervisors
previous,
listen to
space
her
in Los
appeal
Angeles,
more?
New York, is to
No,
have,
I think, you know, maybe if she went and bought Sunny, not Sunny, Loveland Ranch, whatever it's called, I'm forgetting, sorry. If she went and bought it, then, you know, she could be doing this, but, you know, this is how, you know, real estate operates. You try to get the best deal possible, and they, you know, Mr. Axel Kramer is getting the best deal possible, and he's going to make as much money as he can with it.
Put on a dirt lot. The proposed entrance and exit to the development is Hillview, which directly faces my house. There are maybe a dozen people a day who drive up this rutted road now, and their headlights rake across the light of my bedroom. Multiplying this by hundreds of entrances and exits from the proposed development will be a nightmare. For Altaloma, too, which is a huge concern to me. More and more vehicular traffic, including trucks, buses, and tourists, are coming down this road as a shortcut to the park or an alternate to 62. They speed down the hill, and sometimes at 70 miles per hour. Even now, I have difficulty getting into my property or leaving it at certain times, and I'm sure that the people leaving this development will as well. It's a horrendous and very dangerous road right now, and there are no turning lanes in this part of Altaloma as there are in Yucca Valley.
I see.
So I consider this will likely
It's
be
like
a
two
location for
lane-
more accidents
two
and close
lane
calls.
wide
I'm also very concerned about light and
onto
noise.
dirt
The reason I came
roads.
out here was to enjoy the dark skies and the relative quietness of a rural community. The construction of so many houses and eventually their occupants will disrupt the quiet rural experience that I came out here to enjoy. Finally, I just do not believe, as others have mentioned, that people will be coming to this place to live in such a dense location. I think they come out to the Joshua Tree area and to the desert
30
for
seconds
quiet
remaining.
and to have areas to have rural area around them. So I fear that this development will strip off the beautiful vegetation and lush flora and be replaced with like a half-built, densely misplaced houses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Pamela Garcia, followed by John Osman.
I'm here to express and reaffirm my unwavering confidence in both Axel Kramer and the Lovemore Group, as well as the county, San Bernardino County Planning Department, and all overseeing officers who have diligently guided this project this far. As a dedicated member of this community, I believe in the immense benefits this development will bring. The Lovemore project comes at a pivotal moment, aligning seamlessly with the ongoing movement of new residents drawn to the unique blend of natural beauty and close-knit community that our region offers. This project provides a much-needed alternative to the existing housing options, addressing the growing demand for thoughtfully designed, sustainable living spaces. I have tremendous faith in San Bernardino County Planning Department and the rigorous process that ensures responsible and compliant development. I also have complete trust in Axel Kramer's leadership and expertise. His proven ability to follow all regulations and policies set forth since 2020, as well as his commitment to working closely with the county officials, demonstrates his dedication to responsible and transparent development. The Lovemore Group has shown time and again their ability to engage with the community, uphold the highest standards, and bring meaningful projects to life. As a third-generation resident, I dream of living in a community like the one envisioned here, and I will continue to support and assist in making that dream a reality. I urge you to uphold the approval granted and recognize the undeniable value this project brings to San Bernardino County. Thank you for your time, commitment, and leadership in fostering thoughtful, sustainable growth in our community.
Who is
Thank you
this
very much. We will now move on
person?
to
It sounded
John
like she was
Osman, and
just
then after John, we
reading
will go to our remote sites. I do not believe we
something
have any
written
minutes
for
this
her,
morning,
but
so we will move
okay.
on to Joshua Tree, and our first speaker in Joshua Tree after John will be Jennifer Good.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon. Yes, good morning, and thank you, Board of Supervisors, for hearing us today. I don't have anything prepared. I'm a resident of Joshua Tree. I've been living there full-time since 2017. I've been enjoying Joshua Tree since about 2000, since I moved to New York, or from New York to California. I have a business in Joshua Tree. I'm a handyman. My wife has a retail business in Joshua Tree. We were attracted to Joshua Tree for this very reason that you're hearing from the community today. And I just want to urge the supervisors that before moving here, I was a traveling musician. And I traveled the world
Homie looks
for
like a
probably
traveling
25 years,
musician. No
internationally
shade.
and nationally. And I and actually.
And members of the board, thank you for the opportunity today to.
Sorry, we're gonna
speak in
speed run through
support
some of
Lovemore
these
Ranch.
people.
I am an interested buyer of a home in the Lovemore Ranch community, and I want to highlight the Planning Commission's presentation today that this project is zoned for single-family residential. It's earned unanimous approval from the San Bernardino County Planning Commission and has met all environmental requirements under CEQA, which underscores the project's alignment with county standards. I've known the applicant, Mr. Kramer, for about 25 years, and I can tell you
Who
firsthand that he's
are
a
these
passionate neighbor and a
people?
strong leader. I believe he will exceed all expectations.
He
of Lovemore
brought
Ranch in the
his
most positive
friends
way.
to give him character
And I think he has shown
witnesses.
genuine and transparent efforts in engaging with the community and planning for the most sustainable development and doing everything possible to enhance the region with Lovemore Ranch. The project is designed to honor and enhance the character and natural essence of Joshua Tree while providing opportunity for families to create a thriving neighborhood, which is what we need more of in California. Lovemore Ranch.
Davis, and then we will move out to Joshua Tree for Jennifer Good.
Blair Davis. I'm a 28-year resident of Joshua Tree.
28
I was one of the
resident.
85 people at the August meeting who were vehemently opposed to this project for numerous reasons. The presentation made that day by Mr. Kramer was filled with lies and misrepresentations. There are various questions posed to him that he refused to answer.
Yeah, you're totally right, Stardust. Like one of the ladies already said that was speaking in the very spot was saying that there's already so many luxury rentals or short-term rentals already in Joshua Tree that I think they are afraid that this entire building or this entire Lovemore Ranch is going to be just a motel of short-term rentals. And, they already got people dirt biking in the dirt lots. Last thing you need is people coming and partying on a Tuesday, because they couldn't, whatever. There's so many reasons. People who live in tourist cities know. So,
That is not true. There are no dense developments south of Altaloma. Most of the homes are on large acre lots. I was present during the 2014 flooding. The motorist who died in flooding died about a half mile from my house.
30 seconds remaining.
He is very
There's not enough
correct.
time to
South
go
of
over all
Altaloma
of
Drive,
the
it is
reasons why
not
this
as dense
is
as it is
completely
north.
inappropriate. This has no place in Joshua Tree.
Why couldn't
There's
they
no
buy
water
property
to handle
here?
This project. There are no roads to handle this project. And I'm inviting each one of you supervisors to come to Joshua Tree, look at the area, and if you think that
Thank you very much.
They're
Now
not
we'll move out
gonna.
to our Joshua Tree site with Jennifer Good, who will be followed by Jane Jarlsberg.
Yes, well, thank you for holding this and thank you for letting us be here today to tell you how a lot of people in Joshua Tree feel about the Lovemore Ranch project. I have only lived here for 5 years.
I bet you have.
Sorry? Oh, there's no audio apparently this end, so I'll let you know that. What? No? Okay. All right, so
That
I
better
will just
not
carry
dock
on.
her time.
My main objection to this is that it's just totally not what the area of Joshua Tree needs. This is a project that would be suitable for Palm Springs, but not for here. And surely if any of you
that makes a
were,
lot of sense. Palm
able to come
Springs
out
or
and see
further into
where
the
this
Coachella
project
Valley.
is planned, you would understand why everybody here in this community hall, and I have to say it's been a great turnout here, and most people that are here are against this project because it just does not suit the area and the ethos of Joshua Tree. To go back to the water treatment plant, I don't think that's been thought through enough at all. We don't seem to be getting consistent information. And I did actually call our Joshua Water District and they knew nothing about it. They had not been contacted by yourselves and had not had any input into this project of the water treatment here. I appreciate it's sort of cutting edge stuff, but I just don't think it's right or appropriate. Also, the roads here, if you have looked at the map and the junction
Got it
with
up right now.
Altaloma and the Park Boulevard Road, that would be a nightmare to get out of, especially in the summer when in the main Joshua Tree Park high season. It's not easy to turn left from Altaloma onto the Park Boulevard.
Look at
which would
that.
be
It's
the best way-
literally just a turn that looks like hundreds of people have done burnouts on. Oh, and people park on. Yeah, this is not a very good turning area at all. Poor woman. Yeah, she's right. This is a hazard through and through. Look at that little janky fire hydrant. It's not even yellow. Wow. Yeah. With cars parked on the side. I don't know if they're just there being tourists or whatever. Oh, they don't even have sidewalks for walking. Yeah, this is an absolute nightmare of a turn. There's not even a separation of the lanes. Like, is that an old marker right there? I can't even tell. No, it's just a dirt patch that looks like a line in the road. So yeah, this is awful. What are the odds that there's a Subaru Impreza and then a Subaru Crosstrek right next to each other? Shout out to my Subi gang. All right, so yeah. Yep. This looks absolutely nightmare. She's right. And if people are driving through it, what? There's just an empty house right there. This area is wild. So, All right, let's continue.
Road to use. Sunset is certainly not. That comes down to Highway 62 and would be a nightmare to get out of, especially if you wanted to turn left. So I think there's a lot of things that need to be looked at here, and I am against this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Jane Charlesburg, followed by Kelly Newfield.
Hello, I'm Jane Jarlsberg. Yes, what?
Oh, no.
I'm Jane Jarlsberg, and I have a loud voice. Hopefully everybody can hear me here.
We
as well
sure
as in
can,
San
ma'am.
Bernardino. I actually lived here in the 80s for a while for affordable housing. I was homeless when I came here originally, but I fell in love with the desert. I moved from LA at that point and fell in love with the desert. I had to leave the area about 1990 and have visited many times over the subsequent years. I moved back here in 2017, again, for affordable housing. I've been an advocate for homeless, and my family came to live with me because they were homeless. They're currently looking for homes that are affordable and good jobs that pay them enough to pay rent, and they are still struggling with that. The fact that this person, Axel, our neighbor,
she got him.
loves this area, is coming here to destroy it, not bring good affordable housing for local people that are struggling to work here, to afford to work here. We need good workers here, but they're finding that they can't afford to live here with many of the actual money that they can make here. The other thing is that I live a half a mile down the hill from this atrocious possibility. And I have experienced, I live on Sunset Road, 6800 Sunset Road, and I've experienced many floods coming down my street since I moved here.
Come on, who's next? Who's next?
Hi there.
All right.
Oh, sorry about that. Hello, I'm Kelly Newfield, and I'm a Joshua Tree resident. My family has lived in this area since the 1980s. And I want to tell you, Axel Kramer, we don't need you to lead the way. I'm here today to
Lead the
strongly
way.
oppose the
That's
Lovemore Ranch
literally what
project.
they're
This
saying. We
development will
want
create a
to
devastating,
lead the
permanent,
way in
negative impact on the neighborhood
sustainability.
and will be a blight on Joshua Tree. As well as being hideous, this project will increase traffic, light pollution, and noise. The people that love this place and live here do so because Joshua Tree does not have these kinds of developments with repetitive cookie-cutter houses and designer planned landscaping. People want to visit this place because we do not have these kinds of dense planned communities. They literally come out here to get away from this. They come here for the unique and magical character of this place, the open spaces, the wildlife, and dark skies, all of which will be negatively impacted by Lovemore Ranch. One of the arguments in favor of this development is that Joshua Tree needs more housing. The tightly packed Lovemore houses are meant to cost upwards of $700,000. As of this morning, there are
Whoa,
40 houses for sale in this price range.
$700,000? But they're gonna be small. That's crazy.
In Joshua Tree. Many have been reduced multiple times. I know because there are several near me that have been Airbnbs, and they sit empty most of the year. These are unaffordable for most Joshua Tree residents, and most of these at this price have been Airbnbs. Also, no, Alta Loma cannot handle more traffic. My neighbor already can no longer get her horses safely across Alta Loma, where the average vehicular speed on a 2-lane residential road is easily 65 miles per hour.
Wow,
Willingly adding to this
65
volume of
hitting
traffic is
that.
unjustifiable. No one wants a sewage
Imagine,
plant.
imagine hitting that right angle turn for between Alta Loma and the other Alta whatever, Altura. Imagine hitting this turn, this 90-degree angle at 65 miles an hour. When people are already parking on the street. That was another thing. I'd be really curious to see if anyone brings up what the parking situation will be for Lovemore Ranch. Is it going to be street parking? Because I have a feeling it's going to be street parking. Crazy.
In their backyard, no matter how state-of-the-art it is. This development could be in another location where it would not impact so directly access to the park and not destroy the integrity and character of the local neighborhood. Maybe Irvine. In closing,
Maybe
there's no
Irvine. She
justification for
said
the project in this
Lovemore
neighborhood. It
Ranch,
is
go to
development at the
Irvine.
expense of hundreds of existing homeowners, destroying a beloved community forever purely for the sake of monetary gain for a few individuals. It is disgraceful that this project was ever greenlighted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Victoria McConnell, followed by Lloyd Klein.
the density, and really everything else everyone else has been saying. Does not fit Joshua Tree. And we can't sustain what we have now with visitors coming in town. How are we going to sustain 100 more people in our small town? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I'm going to try again for Victoria McConnell. And then after that will be Jack Tucker, followed by Julianne Elliott.
Hi, my name is Jet Tucker. I live in Joshua Tree Village. I'm against the project. Lovemore Ranch project does not belong in the projected area. It's a case of too many homes and too little space. The area downslope already floods in small rain events. It floods all the way to Highway 62, and this will add to that flooding. In the past, the pit area in that project has acted as a catchment basin. That will be gone, and the raw desert will be covered with roofs, patios, and roads. And the water sheeting off all that hardscape will flood the homes directly north and continue downhill on Sunset and on Hillview. At the ranch's open house, the two engineers that were unavailable were the drainage engineer and the septic package plant engineer. And nobody could explain exactly how that would work. And I can see why, because it wasn't, engineered. And I know AutoCamp has a septic package, but they're nowhere near the size and it's more remote. And I did not hear anything back from Mr. Kramer. I asked the questions and I was told that they would get back to me. Nothing was ever said. As a Joshua Tree Village homeowner, I am surrounded by short-term rentals, 12 in fact, in my neighborhood that the county has had to notify me of, and that means they're very close.
12 in
And
her
a lot
neighborhood?
of them right now are not being utilized, and I don't think we need more of those. Or basically, it's small businesses in the neighborhood, and if this is going to happen in that area, it's not a good thing, and the county also needs to address that. So thank you, supervisors.
Thank you very much. Julianne Elliott, who will be followed by Keith Palmer, and then Joni Tremblay.
Hello, my name is Keith. I'm a resident and small business owner in Joshua Tree, a rural community that lacks many critical infrastructures like sewer system, natural gas distribution. We have crumbling roads that flood regularly, as others have mentioned. Our downtown businesses already struggle with flooding due to years of neglect by the state and the county. Despite these challenges, we're a vibrant, working class community that values space over city life. A lot of people moved here for space and to get away from that. And a complete lack of understanding and critical analysis, the Planning Commission has fast-tracked a highly dense, urbanized, gated development in the heart of our village.
Wow,
with no local
gated? I
control.
did not know it was going to be gated.
Such as norm, it is
30 seconds remaining.
made at calcu.
Thank you, sir. Joni Tremblay. Joni Tremblay, followed by Sarah Taylor, and then Seth Zaharias.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joanie Tremblay, and I'm a concerned member of the community. I'm concerned with the mass grading, denuding the parcel of all the plants virtually. Re-landscaping is different from keeping the original native plants, roots, animal burrows, and the ecosystem.
Oh, she's going to answer my questions about re-landscaping, which I theorized is just taking out the plants. I don't know if you're going to let them save them and then replant them, but let's see what she has to say. She sounds like she might be pretty smart on this on this subject.
Our Joshua Tree community loves and are proud of our land conservation proximity to the Joshua Tree National Park. Grading such a large amount of acres is not in concordance with our community vision and doesn't benefit our community. It only benefits monetarily the developers here. This gated community with a homeowner association would have lots considerably smaller than most of Joshua Tree here. And the costs, like many other people have talked about, would be very high. We are for housing, and I am for housing, and we love seeing new development around us that concords with the rest of Joshua Tree. Thus, we are all afraid, as you can see, that this development is a de facto hotel, basically of short-term rentals. We ask here the commission then if they can you add in the project a way that would be for sure that there would be no short-term rentals in this development. As you've seen, we've not been well informed of the project. We didn't receive proper notification. As you can see today, there's many people here, and that is because
Yep, 100% Stardust, gated community. So then, that's just Airbnb, security. you know, oh, we don't need to have a security guard out here. Just here's your code to get into the gated community. And then the actual residents who live there, you know, they're going to be unsafe because their gated community code's going to be given out to every Airbnb rental.
Hi, I'm Sarah Taylor. I am a local resident of Joshua Tree and also a business owner and job provider in the community of Joshua Tree. I am not anti-development, but I am pro-sustainable, environmentally low-impact developments that serve the needs and hopefully the character of our community. Lovemore Ranch is none of these. There's a need for
even though
low
they
and reasonable
advertise
priced
it being
housing in our area.
sustainable.
This does nothing for that. There's a need to protect our fragile ecosystem, especially the protected and endangered western Joshua trees. This threatens them as well as the wildlife. The lack of transparency is emblematic of the overall lack of representation that we have from our county with the suspension of the MAC meetings that people have mentioned. The fact that there was no valid was in just heard or flooding. It's time. No development.
Arias, followed by Valerie.
Board of Supervisors. You know, I'd hate to waste my time on this, but I got to do it. Opening this meeting with an evangelical prayer is extremely offensive to a non-Christian member of your
Oh
constituency.
no, someone
I'm leaving
actually
your circles,
complaining
they say-
about their prayers. Homie's going to be real mad when he sees that behind the Board of Supervisors it has big silver letters that says "In God We Trust." Oh, okay. Let's hear his rant.
Don't tread on me. Please follow that. Secondly, Axel, man, you are a liar and a gaslighter. If you've been climbing
Wow.
in this community for 10 years, we would know each other. I am extremely involved in this community. I'm extremely involved in the climbing community. You have not been
Wow.
climbing in Joshua Tree regularly for 10 years because we would know each other. Thirdly, everybody keeps seeing wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment. We're talking about a sewer system, right? Really, what we're talking about
Yes.
is black water. We're talking about human turds. At
Human
64
turds?
units, we're talking about a minimum of 128 turds per day going into an 18-acre parcel.
128 turds per day. And he walked away.
Folks, they can't hear us out there, so if I could just...
Hold on. Oh, she doesn't want them to clap because, oh my goodness. Hold on. We need to go back and listen about the 128 turds per day. Oh my goodness.
Ask you to keep it.
Turds at 64 units, we're talking about a minimum of 128 turds per day going into an 18-acre parcel.
128 turds per day going into an 18-acre parcel.
Folks, they can't hear us out there, so if I could just ask you to keep it down just a little bit, please. Valerie Woodward, who will
Let
be
them
followed by Peter
clap.
Spur. And
There's the big "In God We Trust," by the way, right above the county emblem.
then Allie Irwin.
Hi, Valerie Woodard. 20-year full-time resident of Joshua Tree. This project is an ill fit for our rural character and home density. I fully oppose this development. I have firsthand experience with these types of developments. Before moving to Joshua Tree, I lived in a similar development where the build-out of homes took over 15 years to complete. And it went through several reiterations with changes that weren't originally approved, with constant construction interrupting the daily lives of residents. That was in Orange County, where this project is expected and would be well suited. I inherited my mother's home in Yucca Valley, which is in a gated development similar to this project. It has been over 20 plus years since its inception, and it is now only 70% done. With 4 different developers, construction is still going on. It also had a package treatment plant, which was nothing but trouble from the start. Fortunately, they were able to connect to the sewer system, but it cost tens of thousands to dismantle it. This project would not have that option. How much longer will it take to complete this project? 10 more years? How long? 30 years to build out that many homes? Ridiculous. What guarantees are given that once this beautiful parcel of land is mass graded, the project will ever be completed? Or will it become a dust bowl? Not a good risk, in my opinion. The surrounding
tend to
neighborhoods
agree with
do
the
not
dust
deserve
bowl
this type
idea.
of ill-conceived development. Their quality of life should be our main concern, as they are your constituents, not the wants of one developer.
Exactly.
And lastly, trying to sneak this project through.
So many people have made that point saying, what we actually live in the area. We are residents of Joshua Tree and our voices are not being heard. Who do you represent? The developer or the people that are already living there? I understand the developer might be bringing up money, but you already have a duty to listen to the people that you were elected to represent.
Under the radar, reeks of corruption and needs to be investigated thoroughly. Save Joshua Tree.
Thank you very much. I'd like to announce also that we will take a 15-minute break at 12:30. Next up, we have Peter Spur, followed by Allie Irwin.
Taking a few moments for letting me do public commentary this morning. My name is Peter Spur, and I've been a licensed real estate broker in Joshua Tree for almost 21 years.
Dang, maybe
My
another
experience
expert.
in our local real estate market spanning more than 2 decades qualifies me somewhat to share my opinion on the viability of selling these proposed homes. In my opinion, the project density and the projected sales price would prevent the homes from selling. Here's a
Wow.
snapshot of our market currently.
Oh, perfect.
This data was taken Sunday, April 6th, so it's a couple days old, but still should be accurate. Homes for sale in Joshua Tree. There's an eye-popping 184 homes currently on the market.
Wow,
That's a lot.
184. Okay.
Homes for sale in South Joshua Tree, south of Highway 62, to include the Lovemore Ranch area, 92. Homes
Wow.
for sale in South Joshua Tree is $700,000 or more, and I picked that price because that's the projected price point for the Lovemore Ranch home.
All right, that's the second time
still
we've
have
heard that as a
39
price
homes, but
point.
here's-
So, you know, $700,000 is a lot for a house that's going to be, you know, on the property of one house and that you'll have to share with a neighbor. Wild. Okay.
Where it gets interesting. Homes in South Joshua Tree, $700,000 or more on a half acre or less. 3. Same category, homes for sale in South Joshua Tree, $700,000 or less on a half acre or less. I'm sorry, $700,000 or more on a half acre or less that were actually sold in the last 6 months. One sale. I'm
Wow,
going to
only
expand
one
on that
sale.
sale. That was on Prescott Trail, not too far from the Lovemore Ranch site, sold for $705,000, but that was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, over 2,400 square feet on a small lot, but still a larger lot than the Lovemore Ranch offers. And I might add, no HOA fee.
Wow.
In contrast, I tallied up the homes that sold in Joshua Tree for $700,000 or more on a half acre or larger that actually sold in the past 6 months, and there are 13 sales. So it averaging slightly more than 2 a month. Each one of those had had at least 1 full acre of land. The obvious takeaway, home buyers with the purchasing power at or above $700,000 will opt for homes with acreage. Again, the density of Lovemore Ranch will not be conducive to sales. And while the County Board of Supervisors may not be concerned with the success or viability of any proposed development, perhaps they should be, for it is the nearby residents that will suffer the eyesore of a stalled project and is subject to the hazardous air quality of the scraped terrain with vacant lots and unsold properties. This project should be revised to lot sizes more in step with real estate reality and lot sizes of a half acre.
That's time.
Thank you very much. Ali Irwin, who will be followed by Casey Kiernan and then Avery Zolan.
And then Avery Zolan.
Hey, everybody. Why don't you take a deep breath, and listen some more. I want to thank
We got
my
this.
Joshua Tree neighbors and MBCA for speaking so brilliantly and passionately today. About 100 of us attended that meeting held by Lovemore in this very room in August. We were not informed of the next action, the planning committee hearing that was held in January.
All
Perhaps our
right.
planning commissioner, Michael Stoffel, was also not informed because he was not at the hearing, and it is his job to represent us. In fact, the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors are so out of touch, they assumed we were sitting in the Bob Burke Center participating by live feed. Here are
Wow.
some of the transcript from the meeting. Chairman Jonathan Weldy said, "We have people joining us from the Bob Burke Center in Joshua Tree. I can't see you yet, but welcome." Weldy said, "Assuming we have comments from Joshua Tree, we will go to them. According to staff, we do not have speakers out in JT. We're not desperate, but you're on notice. Fill out a speaker form. Do we hear anything from Joshua Tree? All right. Oh well, my conscience is clear." But there was no one at the Bob Burke Center. How could you not know that?
Wow.
Why must residents do a GoFundMe to retain a lawyer? Why do
Wow, that's
NBCA
really
have
bad.
to do all this work, brilliant work, and then pay more than $1,000 to make this very appeal today? Why do we not have a MAC, a Municipal Advisory Council for county land purchase?
Hello, my name is Casey Kiernan, and I'm a 10-year resident of Joshua
Oh
Tree.
no,
And
the
first
San
of all, I'd like to
Bernardino
echo Stacy's comments that
County
this is not
audio is
Victorville,
breaking
this
out
is not
again.
Colton, this
It's
is not
my
Hesperian.
apologies.
Those places have roads, they have water, they have sewage, they can handle all that. So it must it has to be painfully obvious that you're trying to force fit that high density home model into a place where it doesn't belong. But let's get back to the main point here. So I know the county has this fantasy of seceding from California, but Joshua Tree is not going anywhere. So pay
Wow,
attention
it's
to
true.
us, pay attention to our tax dollars.
I don't
where our tax
know. I
dollars
don't know
going, like
why.
literally where our tax dollars going.
I don't
They're
know
not going
why
to the
the
roads, they're
Board
not
of
going to the
Supervisors
sewer,
had
they're
to
not going
pay
to manage
for
our water. Like, where are
a
those tax
consulting
dollars going?
company
Why aren't
to
they going
come
to us?
and
So
figure out if
here you go, Beth.
if
I manage
we
a
are
social
actually
media
getting the
society
same
for
amount of
kids in
money
Joshua
that
Tree,
we're putting
and it
into the
has
state
about
of
100,000
California back
followers.
from
So
the state
I
of
talk to
California.
tourists every
Or I
single day.
think the
They know what
issue
Joshua
was
Tree is.
is
So I have a
we're
question for the
providing a
Board of
lot of
Supervisors.
resources
What is the
and
number one
other
reason people
counties
come
in the
to
state of California are not providing as much as us. So, I don't know.
I'll wait for an answer.
Yeah, they're not
Mr.
going to
During
answer.
public comment, we just take comments from you.
I know. I know.
Dang, he got her.
I believe you don't know the answer.
Ah.
That's why I asked the question. They don't come here
Hold on.
for.
Let's go
wait
back.
for an answer. That's it. So I have a question for the Board of Supervisors. What is the number one reason people come to Joshua Tree?
Oh, that's an easy answer. Easy answer. Come on, Miss Rao. What is the answer?
I'll wait for an answer.
Sir, during
believe-
public comment, we just take comments from you.
I know. I know. I believe you don't know the answer. That's why I asked the question. They don't come here for gated communities.
I'm going to make a wild guess. I'm going to answer his question. Let me guess. Do people come to Joshua Tree for the possibility of tourism? Is that why? Is it because maybe people come to Joshua Tree to visit because they want to see the stars at night? They want to experience the desert at night? They, I don't know, maybe want to get high in the desert at night. I don't know what people are visiting Joshua Tree for. I would love to be one of those people one day. However, I'm not. I will have no plans to visit Joshua Tree, but it's in the I would love to in the future. So let's see what else he says, because so already so many of the people who said that they go to live in Joshua Tree do so because they want to have space, privacy, and a slower paced type of life. Let's see what he says.
They don't come here for high dense populations to live on a street that's you're next to 10 of your other neighbors. The number one reason people come to Joshua Tree is for the dark skies. Number
Dark
one reason.
skies.
And when I say dark skies, what I mean is it's the open desert. It's the openness of the place. So, and nothing about this love, it's so funny that it has the word love in the title. That's like so marketing PR. I mean, it's like, do you really
He's
think that we're
right.
that stupid? It's like, this is the Lovemore Ranch. My God,
I
it's
love
so
this
terrible.
man.
You guys, it's just so terrible.
He's
People
seeing
come
right
here
through
for
the
the dark
BS.
skies and the open desert. So please, San Bernardino County, spend some money on the number one tourist attraction in your area that's known worldwide. Nobody cares about Colton
Worldwide.
in the world. Nobody cares about San Bernardino.
Nope, I
But
hate
when
to
you say
say
Joshua
that.
Tree, they know exactly what you're talking about, and they're not.
So true. Like I was saying last stream, ain't nobody coming from LA County to come visit the great amenities in San Bernardino County. No, ain't nobody from other states coming to Southern California to visit San Bernardino. They're coming to visit LA or Palm Springs. Joshua Tree is part of that. People, there's a whole U2 album, I think, named Joshua Tree. I'm not sure. Sorry, boomers. I mean, Gen Xers. I don't know my U2 very well, but yeah, Joshua Tree is known across the world. The trees are protected, and it's a well-known thing that when you go through these areas, if you cut down one of those Joshua trees, you're cooked. And here's a company getting permission from the Board of Supervisors to unplant those trees and replant them in like, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's time.
They're not talking about gated.
Avery Zoellen, who will be followed by Dawn Davis.
Huh.
Co-Harvest Foundation. We build school gardens, community gardens. We work with mutual aid organizations, community centers, just like this one throughout San Diego and Southern California in general. I'm speaking because I am an enthusiastic supporter for this build for Lovemore Ranch development, which I believe will have a significant impact on the community, particularly in addressing food insecurity in the region. As you know, the county of San Bernardino has a huge issue with food insecurity. We can laugh all we want and jeer all we want. That's a huge issue here, especially for seniors. It just rose from 2019 to the current rate at 19%. And one of the things that this development is going to do is address that issue by having the first large-scale community food production site at the property. This isn't just talk, right? We're not just saying we're going to.
Then just build the community garden. Why do you got to build houses around it? Okay. Again, this guy's given a little fishy as well. I don't know.
Something, put love in the name for the interest for you guys to trick y'all. That's not what it's about. All right, this is something
why
that
is he beefing with the previous speaker?
I focus my life on environmental stewardship, and as someone who is focused on urban agriculture and also environmental injustices, which my focus is food insecurity.
Food insecurity.
I can confidently say that the leadership behind this group is fully committed to this.
Yeah, collect your thoughts, homie.
Not only is this project going to increase the ability for food production to come out of this site, we're going to be able to. It's a community food production area, and there's going to be multiple on this site. And so part of that process is that there's going to be food grown, and it's going to be for the community as well.
Okay.
Now, we can
so
talk
does he work for Lovemore Ranch?
Keep people out, but property lines are property lines, and we have gates. I agree that environmental stewardship, and I appreciate.
Hold on. I would imagine behind the scenes people are asking him, how are we going to get in to pick the fruit that you're going to grow if it's a gated community? And he said, I'm sorry, property lines are property lines. So what's going to go on? What's going to go on? I'm so confused. Who is this man?
Appreciate the grassroots efforts out here. Unfortunately, using environmentalism in bad faith and not listening to the environmental impact reports, not listening to the hydrology reports, and claiming that they're based off of some leadership or some credentialed professional that you don't trust is okay and fair and well. But let's also trust the professionals when they are doing these environmental impact reports and showing the data. Let's listen to the data. Let's understand how much impact this is going to happen. I believe in dark skies. I believe in coming out here every day to make sure we can see the sky, we can see the beautiful stars, we can see the Milky Way. But we also can't use environmentalism. We can't use this as a mantra to fight something that's also going to benefit your community. So as long as we're going to do this, and we're going to have this bad faith argument, this grassroots.
I just want to hear what his name is first.
They're not.
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name's Avery. I work for a nonprofit. It's Co-Harvest Foundation. We build school gardens, community gardens. We work.
Nonprofit, Co-Harvest.
General plan is John Davis. I'm a 9-year resident of Joshua Tree, and I do live down in the village, also downstream of the Lovemore project. The density of the proposed project is not consistent with some of the goals and policies of the general plan, our community plan, community action guide, or the development code. The information in the staff report misled the Planning Commission as to the existing surrounding built density. The 7,200 square foot per lot that the project utilizes equates to 0.165 of an acre, or 0.17 if we're being generous. Even in pre-existing denser lots to the north, none are this small. 7,200 square feet is the minimum lot size allowed. That is not the same, nor does it equate with the density allowed. The numbers for the density allowed and how many units they could have built is inconsistent, inflated, and erroneous throughout the staff report. Is it
Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. I just need to go back to get what this man's name was.
About Colton and
Harvest Foundation. We build school gardens. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name's Avery. I work for a
Avery.
nonprofit. It's Co-Harvest.
I work for a nonprofit. Okay, so his name is Avery. Is his last name Kramer? Like in relation to Axel Kramer? Hold on. This is the man talking, right? This is the same man. Okay. President of the board. And he... Okay. Let's read a little bit more about him. I guess I can't read more about him. Why is it not working? Read more. Click. Ooh. Hold on. Meet the team. Okay. Sorry. That's wild. If this man is related to Axel, come on. Okay, my bad for clicking on LinkedIn. Axel Kramer, Lovemore Ranch. Let's see. About meet the team. They have the same last name. They have the same last name. Avery Kramer, Kramer, and Axel Kramer, Kramer. What is up? Homie had his brother come to defend him. Homie's working with his brother. Wow. Okay. Hold on.
Harvest Foundation, we build school gardens, community gardens.
Yeah,
We work
they
with
look
mutual
like
aid
brothers
organizations,
without
community
a
centers,
doubt.
just like this one throughout San Diego and Southern California in general. I'm speaking because I am
Where are they
enthusiastic
from?
supporter for this.
Are they from Joshua Tree? I don't think so. Man, I need a Wikipedia page on these boys. Wow. Okay. What see? You just do a little bit of digging and then you come across these things and you're like, "What? What? This guy who's giving a comment as a concerned citizen of Joshua Tree is actually the brother of the developer who's in question? What are the odds?" Wow.
Build for Lovemore Ranch development, which I believe will have a significant impact on the community, particularly in addressing food and mutual aid.
Who will be followed by
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name's Avery. I work for a nonprofit. Hello.
Not talking about gated.
Avery Zoellen, who will be followed by Dawn Davis.
Avery Zoellen. Why did he give a weird last name?
Followed by Dawn Davis.
They're not talking
That's
about.
time.
They're not talking about gated.
Avery Zoellen, who will be followed by Dawn
Avery
Davis.
Zoellen. Who? What?
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name's Avery.
And he doesn't introduce himself. Or I mean, he just says, "My name is Avery." Wow. Yeah, you're so right, Marcella. He is an industry plant. What? How insane. Okay, we got to make a short out of this. Oh, man. All right.
I work for a nonprofit, Harvest Foundation. We build school gardens, community gardens. We work with mutual aid organizations, community centers, just like this one throughout San Diego and Southern California in general.
In San Diego
I'm
and
speaking
Southern
because I am
California. All right. We need to do some research on the Kramer brothers. All right, but let's continue. I think I want to listen to this lady.
Nor have any multifamily developments come in and essentially bladed the entire parcel.
And then
Previous developers have cut inroads and
we're
infilled
coming
with
up
new
on
homes over
almost 3
time,
hours
leaving
here,
many
so
parcels
I'm
filled
gonna
with
have to
native
dip
plants
out
and maintaining the
soon.
desert character of the neighborhood. Here's a map to show you.
Oh,
Historically,
thank you for the map.
if you can see this map, it shows that even the densest area, 20% of the lots remain native.
Let's just
whereas this
go
project
back
might
to
leave
what.
a
Let's skip forward. I'm sorry, guys, but being short on time, I want to make sure we get the full story.
Emily Felt.
Hi, I'm Emily. I think I am last. I don't have anything really prepared. I am a newer resident. I just moved here in September. I've been welcomed by the community, and I'm strongly opposed to this. And I just wanted to make a note that the address here.
Applicant. You will have 5 minutes to come up and address any of the concerns that you've heard in public comment, and then we will turn it over to the appellant for 5 minutes of final thoughts.
Thank you so much, Honorable Board of Supervisors, Honorable Chair. Just to make sure, will you be asking questions to your staff after my statement and the appellant's statement? Or will the board, sorry? Because I just remember that being
No,
part of
she
the
wants to
process.
dip out
Okay.
right
That's a
now.
great
She's
clarification
done.
point.
She's already done her time. This meeting's gone longer than she's
So if
used
the board
to.
has questions of either land use services or the appellant or the applicant, We would do that after the remaining 2 5-minute segments.
Because I thought these were closing statements, was my understanding.
Yeah, that would be a good opportunity to do it at that point in time. But after they make their statements, and then if you have any questions of staff, you can ask the questions of staff. You could also ask them questions now if you have them. Or later, if you want to bring them back.
Any questions now?
Impossible. His tie is,
Dean's were about water
he needs a tie
storage.
clip.
Just want to hear it again from your side. What commitments do we have will serve or not? What process that is for the development.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt, for that question. So today we do have our CEQA consultant, our hydrology consultant here, if you need more technical specifications. But the requirements are for us to get an
Look at all
EHS
these
permit
people
and a permit from the Regional Water
recording
Quality
back
Control
here.
Board.
Good
These
for
are
them.
conditions of approval that come after the approval of the tentative map.
All right, seeing no other questions for you at this time, I'll go ahead and ask you to do your 5-minute closing statement, please.
Sure. So first off, we've heard a lot of comment today.
A lot,
and
yes.
I want to express that anyone who's angry and frustrated and hurt, that I'm sorry for that.
What?
That hurts me too. Because I am a part of this community. And I'm not going to play he said, she said.
What?
The Board of Supervisors has the facts, and our team has worked exceptionally hard over 4.5 years to produce over 20 studies that technically detail all the answers to the questions that have been brought up today. The
Homie,
staff
just
did a
move on,
tremendous
buy
job in their
another
staff report
property.
and in their presentation to address each and every issue. Attending a meeting like this is courageous, and I'm always
What? Is he
grateful to
patting
anyone
himself
who
on the
spends time
back?
giving their attention to a community, including the appealing body. I want to mention that it's also courageous on the supporting side. There are several members of our community who I know who had told me they wanted to attend but did not attend, and I also know there are people who said I would attend, but I'm feeling scared to do so.
So I asked my brother to come to drive all the way from San Diego to Joshua Tree so that he could pretend to be one of the supporting concerned citizens, because there's so many people that are scared to talk to their apparent neighbors in support of this development. Okay.
Just now in the hall, I had someone come up to me and yell in my face. That's hard to deal with, and it's understandable. And this is the appealing body that we're talking about, and it's understandable. And this is the appealing body that we're talking about. Yes, there is a much wider community than only the appealing body that's here and spoken today, but their opinion and their vision is also valid, and I'm very glad that we're able to hear that. So in closing, today, after hearing everything that I've heard, more than ever, I am absolutely confident that this is an amazing opportunity for this community.
Oh
to
my
house a benchmark sustainable
goodness.
development.
He's
We will
doubling
add much needed
down.
housing supply. We'll light the way for future construction. Most of the homes in Joshua Tree were built in the 40s and 50s. They have about 75-year lifespans. They were built post-World War II,
What?
quick and cheap. And they are in the process of being rebuilt. Some of the appellant mentioned that they have recently moved to Joshua Tree and done just that. In this project, we're introducing cutting-edge sustainable land design, materials, construction methods that will create 150-year plus structures. We're going to have, there are parts of this doing the master plan that achieve what I call sustainabilities of scale, where, for example, utilizing shared utilities, having a package treatment plant, having, all the different shared
Wait, so are they going to sell the food that they're going to grow there? That doesn't make sense.
A community with all electric appliances.
I thought,
community will have
Mr. Avery wanted to help feed the community.
Walking paths, a sport court, a warm-up climbing wall before you hit the boulders, a caring staff, especially for children and those in their retirement years who have indicated.
Wait,
that they
there's
are
going to be
interested in
staff
walking.
working there?
And it'll bring 64 residents like myself to Joshua Tree,
64,
who value
just
the design
64
principles that we are
residents.
designing for, of sanctuary, dark night
Wow.
skies. This is why I come out there. And yes, I believe it's possible to have this project and for it to deepen our relationship with nature, and not just for the people who live there, but for their friends and families, and for generations to come.
So, AKA people
Joshua
visiting,
Tree is amazing.
because this is
This
going to be
why
a
we're all
timeshare.
here. I wake up in the morning and I'm 20 minutes from my latest bouldering project. In the afternoon, I get to go to the farmer's market, and at night, I can go to Pappy and Harriet's and watch Paul McCartney. I and my team are excited
Go to
and humbled
Pappy
have
and
the opportunity
Harriet's and
to
watch
steward
Paul
this project.
McCartney.
We are humbled.
Did not know Paul
to have the
McCartney was up
opportunity
in
to steward this
uh,
project. And I believe and I'm
Joshua
convinced,
Tree.
And I believe that we've done a very good job proving over 4.5 years that we're going to do just that and create a benchmark sustainable community in Joshua Tree. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we will ask the appellants to come back up and offer their 5 minutes of closing statement after our board members may or may not have any questions for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably not going to have questions. They never have questions.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to make this closing statement here. I've asked Nelson Day has offered to provide some facts that will be very substantive in the decision you're about to make.
All right. I feel like their minds are already made up, maybe.
Supervisor Cook.
Yeah, maybe I missed something, but earthquakes. What is the, do you have a take on this? And somebody who's lived in California for a long while, we've had our share in the basin there, both when I was on the basin and when I wasn't. Can you comment on that?
Is he talking about 29 Palms?
I don't know if there's a mathematical probability when the next earthquake is going to be.
Oh my God, now he's asking for scientists to predict earthquakes. Mr. Paul Cook, you can't even predict what you're going to say next, can you? How can we predict earthquakes?
It might be when my wife gets mad at me for not getting home on time, but...
oh, man, he brought up his wife. Everyone take a shot.
Well, of course, this project is not far from the Pinto Fault, which terminates right in 29 Palms, so it's with the Oasis of Mara, and that's the reason the Oasis of Mara is there. So it's very close to an earthquake fault. And when the big one hits, if the big one hits along that fault, there'll definitely be some damage. Perhaps damage to the wastewater system, perhaps damage to the detention facility, damage as with anything else.
Yeah, his poor wife, poor Paul Cook's wife, Mrs. Cook, is
cooked. To what degree that should be considered in this, I'm not sure is really appropriate, but or relevant, I should say, is perhaps the word. The main concern is well, let me leave this to, we'll go from here.
You only got 5 minutes.
You might have for me.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, as a community, we organized to have a unified front on this matter, and we have 397 signatures on a locally circulated petition.
Wow, 397 signatures.
And what we don't expect is for Axel to abandon his project. We're not asking him to not develop his land. He has every right to develop his land. What we are asking for is half-acre lots on the tract map. This will remove the need for a sewage treatment facility, make us feel much more comfortable with the project. We're asking that each structure will have its own septic system, proper stormwater retention, and as a local, I've observed people that are developing land, and our unique process is either build around the Joshua trees or have them transplanted someplace else by a professional. We'd like that standard to be also preserved, and we'd like a commitment for Lovemore Ranch to meet with the Water District, and we'd like a public commitment that the project will not become a resort. And we also require a complete and comprehensive traffic study. To summarize our position, our lawyer, who is currently on retainer with funds raised by our community, has identified multiple CEQA violations in the initial study and has written 2 letters to the board to indicate these known violations. In its current form, this project will never hold up in court. The responses provided by the county are an inept attempt to cover up glaring issues that need proper consideration. Even the idea that a sewage treatment facility can be designed after the tract map approval is a CEQA violation. That's piecemeal design, not allowed by CEQA. For this to meet CEQA, or the project, as we have in our past, our community has the resources and determination to hold everyone involved in this project accountable to their current standards and expectations put in place by the county to protect our community from a disastrous project. Thank you for this opportunity to present our grievances with this project, and we look forward to a positive outcome from this hearing.
Thank you very much. I'll now ask staff to join us. Did you have any other additional comments, Steve?
The only thing, I just think it's really important, the initial study needs to look at this project as a whole. You can't be kicking things down the road. The project has a tract map. It includes a wastewater treatment system. This needs to be thoroughly explored and analyzed before happening these relative stuff that Matt, this is.
I'm sorry. I'm so tired of hearing about the wastewater treatment plant that's going to be built there.
We heard Mr. Bardwell say when he
I can only imagine how it is for the Joshua Tree residents.
It was exceptionally inconsiderate how we noticed the public on this project for the Planning Commission meeting. And I know that I had asked that we do whatever we could. I wasn't familiar with the project at that time.
Wait, hold on. She sounds like she's taking accountability.
Thank you. I encourage you to see.
Very much. We'll bring staff back up. Mark, I'm going to put you in the hot seat and I'm going to lead. We heard Mr. Bardwell say when he first started his 15 minutes that it was exceptionally inconsiderate how we noticed the public on this project for the Planning Commission meeting. And I know that I had asked that we do whatever we could. I wasn't familiar with the project at that time. It has a
projects have an opportunity to change before they reach the Board of Supervisors. And so we look at them when they come before us. So I was familiar that there was a project moving through the system, but not intimate in the details. But it was important to
Wow,
me.
so she
to make
didn't know.
sure
She
that
didn't
our
know.
residents had the opportunity that they could to be notified, to have access up there, and to have, at that time, the Bogberg Center open. And I know that we have a competing department that has made it very difficult for us to take public comment in there, and that's why we've moved it over to the Joshua Tree Community Center, which I appreciate all the work that's been done today to have that happen.
I'm
But I
sorry.
think
Did
we
she
fell
say
short as a county.
competing
I don't-
department? She is the Board of Supervisors. Why can't they make space? What department is competing with the public hearing? I mean, people making public comments. That doesn't make sense.
I think that we may have done, and I heard you say this, all that we were legally required to do. But
Yeah.
in today's day and age of technology, where we can push this out in our newsletters, where we can do more than we are legally obliged to do, I do think we have a responsibility to do that for our residents, especially our rural residents. So
Yeah,
I would ask that
okay.
if we can do better next time that we do. And I understand you're saying it was legally done, but I know from my staff that the Bogberg Center was open, they were there. But I don't think that the county did an adequate job of notifying the public on this. And so I think that there were areas that we could do
Wow,
better. So
taking
if you
accountability.
want to address that now, I would welcome that.
Certainly. Thank you, Chair Rowe.
Who
I
is
agree.
this?
I think that for us, in establishing the government center as a meeting site, we didn't secure it soon enough, and we didn't provide really an adequate or reasonable public information notification. Not the legal requirement for it being accessible, but the fact that we could have done better at sending out courtesy notices and using our email networks with the people who we know are concerned with this. And
Wow.
we know about
So
ECA.
county's
And I
taking
think
the
that
fault
was
for
a
it,
failing on our part, and
but
we've already taken some actions to address that in the future, to make sure that our notices are complete.
but they're
And-
just saying
and
we're
some
going
of
to do
our
better
internal
next
systems
time.
have some
That,
chaos associated with them, so we're
ay.
cleaning those up. I do agree, and we are making a concerted effort in the future to not experience this and to make sure everybody has reasonable and reliable information.
Thank you. In going in reverse of what we have heard today, I'd like to start with what Mr. Bardwell just said, that we look at this as a whole. Can you speak to that? When we're asked to approve a map such as this, how is it looked at and how is it not looked at as a whole for consideration? And I know it's zoned appropriately within the general plan, and I did hear you in your presentation, but we've heard some conflicting things. So I'm wanting to make sure that I'm understanding correctly.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So with the filing of an application, this was first filed, and we reviewed, we evaluated, and the applicant changed their proposal from more than 70 to this number. So in the processing of the tentative map, we're completing a general plan
Oh, so
consistency
first they
evaluation, which we
were
completed.
they
The
were
development code
cleared for one thing, and then they changed their mind, and then
analysis.
oof.
And in this case,
Okay.
with the plan or the project relying on the density associated with the general plan, the development code we're looking at for the specific development standards, the setbacks, the parking requirements, and building height. So we look at that. We also evaluate the context of the project to its community. And based on the policies and criteria of the general plan and development code, we make assessments. We negotiate with the applicant, we give comments, and then at the same time, when we route the project for review, internal review, we include a variety of departments: public works, environmental health, fire, and then our own building, land, and planning divisions. And in that effort, we are identifying the special studies that need to be completed that are with or separate to the CEQA process. In this case, the initial study identified a number of issues, and they were generally associated with biology and site conditions. And so that initial study identifies grading, runoff, the biological, the cultural.
A lot of
requirements,
people
and then
were bringing
those
that up.
Items become addressed in the environmental statement and become the mitigation monitoring plan. And it also feeds into the conditioning of the project. The conditions for this project and any other project have different phases. This essentially, as a subdivision, is at a very high level. And as it proceeds through its conditions of approval, if it were approved, we would have progressive evaluation and analysis of all of the projects. So we'll have additional and more detailed grading review, additional and more detailed surface runoff, and also the review and detailing of a water retention plan. So all of those, which are common in any conditional use permit as well as a tentative map, all of those become progressively refined and detailed as the project moves through the process. The first step is approving or not approving a tentative map. So in this case, the septic facilities, the septic system is intended to be, it's not a facility, it's a septic program, and that has been preliminarily now reviewed by EHS and by the Regional Water Quality Control Board. So the initial assessment is that a septic system of that scale and magnitude will be required. The development of the specific plans are subsequent to an approval. Once approved, and if they proceed, they'll submit those plans and they'll be further reviewed by planning, by land use, by EHS, and by the Regional Water Quality Control Board. So this is the first of many steps in the sequence of development.
So, and I have two additional questions for you as it goes through the process that you've described. When you mentioned that it will be looked at by all those different entities, will the public have an opportunity at any of those junctures to weigh in?
When it's public record, they may review it, but as a body, we won't be asking them for the technical information associated with the project.
So then let's talk about traffic circulation. Was a traffic study done on this project?
A traffic assessment was completed on this particular project. And in this case, it was determined that the project was, a project analysis report was prepared by the applicant's firm, the Gandini Group, and based on the trip generation rates associated with this project, and their analysis was at the actually higher level of a 75-unit project, not the now proposed 64. That assessment is then submitted to Land Use Services and to Department of Public Works, and it's reviewed to the traffic and trip generation models that are adopted by the Department of Public Works. In this case, the project only generated 708 daily trips, and it did not meet the requirement for the preparation of a detailed transportation impact study based on county-established screening criteria.
I'm familiar with Altaloma. That we heard a public speaker today say the traffic on that street goes about 65. That's when Apple Maps and Waze aren't routing our tourists up on Altaloma off of Highway 62, and you can actually pass through there without traffic impediment. And she's right. Our school buses go up and down there. It is a walk between Sunny Vista, where we have Friendly Hills Elementary, and Park Avenue. And the intersection at Park Avenue, which I'm working with Public Works on, is problematic as you're coming uphill to the south. And if you were to make a westbound turn onto Altaloma, where if you were coming from the village, most of these folks would be going to and from, like, that is an intersection that will have impact from the trips that are generated from this.
100%. And
What
we
can
just
the
looked at
county
it.
do to ensure that our local residents, our school buses, the fire department that is on Park Avenue, all have appropriate ingress and egress as we're adding more housing stock? And I want to get to that, and I'm going to have a question for our county council on the Housing Accountability Act and our legal constraints there. But if you can speak to what can we do to go above and beyond in terms of traffic studies and mitigation for this neighborhood?
I think the best way to approach neighborhood-focused transportation. Is that better? Thank you.
Oh my God,
Thank
Cook.
you.
Leave him
Supervisor.
alone.
Some of the traditional ways to focus on neighborhoods where there are persistent traffic and pedestrian bike conflicts is to do a focus study. And in that type of a world, we would partner with DPW. We'd assess what's going on in the area.
Department
and then
of
find
Public
out
Works,
if
I
it's really
think.
an existing street capacity and design issue that's a leftover from what we see as 1950s.
Oh my goodness,
era,
just
and
do
then,
the study.
Traffic generation
Do
and trips
it.
and use. So that 1950 layout might not have
Yeah,
additional
it was
study
because
issues.
it
On the
was
Public Works
a
land use.
one-horse
So
town,
that is
I
something that
think.
I would personally like to see and will work with you on. And before I turn it over to my peers, County Council, can you please give us the background on the Housing Accountability Act and the legal constraints that we have to act with this appeal?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the state has certainly got involved here in trying to promote the growth of housing in California. It's passed a
Of
series
course.
of laws in order to promote the development of housing within the state.
And
This is a state law,
ADUs.
applies throughout the state. And the Housing Affordability Act is one of those series of laws that the legislature has passed to promote housing. So in order to be able to deny this project, the board would have to find that there are specific public health and safety concerns or reasons to deny the project, and they would have to find in written findings that those particular concerns can't be mitigated under the circumstances. And those decisions have to be made based on the record that's before you as part of this project, and it has to be by a preponderance of the evidence. So you'd have to find, based on the record that you have, by a preponderance of the evidence, which is a little over 50%, that there are specific adverse health and safety impacts that cannot be mitigated. Otherwise, because as the chair noted, this project complies with the general plan, applies with the zoning, this project would have to be approved according to the state law.
I hope our residents are hearing that. So, Supervisor Cook.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds like the residents, the Board of Supervisors aren't going to do much. It's just like our hands are tied. We have to do this. We have to have no choice but to let them build Lovemore Ranch. I mean, they are correct, but it's like, I don't know. I wish they would do a little bit better. Maybe foster some more conversations. Again, they didn't send out those notices as they should have, so it's like multiple parties are at fault here. And as much as I'm sure everyone would just love to blame Lovemore Ranch and the Kramer brothers or the Kramer family, that's not really it. I think the solution here is, just you can't build 60 plus houses in this tiny land. That's not going to be sustainable in itself. You know, I hear all these people making claims about sustainability and all that, but it's like, is there a need for more housing in Joshua Tree, or is there a need for more tourist Airbnbs? I think that's the question here, and it's people aren't being honest with what this development is intended for. Just them being so small, I have no choice but to believe that it's just going to be short-term rentals. I mean, if residents are saying that there's already so many short-term rentals there, and this is going to be a possibility for perfect short-term rentals, then I don't know, man. The shoe fits.
Yeah, I hear that and everything. I know the road very well.
Oh my God. Get closer to your mic, Paul Cook.
Who's going to tell the military, and I'm a product of the military, hey, we got 50 trucks going through Joshua Tree this weekend. Does anyone get any notice like that? It can be very dangerous because of the size of that. If they're artillery and they're hauling that stuff, how is that mitigated or need it be mitigated? I personally view that as a hazard. Am I wrong?
On Ultima.
My wife tells me I'm wrong all the time.
No, I wouldn't say you're wrong.
His wife,
but I would say that
again,
the federal
everyone,
government
that's
certainly
your
has,
second shot for
certain
today.
superior rights and can preempt local and state laws that might be to the contrary. So I'm not sure that, I don't believe there's any kind of law that would require them to provide notice. But even if there was, the federal government very well might preempt it and decide not to provide the notice.
The federal government?
Oh, you don't
You
wanna
mean
jump
with
in on this
military?
one? That's all right. I'll stick with my 2 Purple Hearts.
Supervisor Hagman.
I'll stick with
No,
my
thank you, and I
2
appreciate
Purple
everyone coming out for that.
Hearts.
For those of
What
you in
is
person,
this
it's a big distance for
man?
you. I get it, and I really do hear all the passion, and to organize the community. And it's an interesting thing, because even a year ago, it would have been a different situation. We would feel, we'd go one way or the other, what we feel like, or go back to developers, say, hey, we want these changes. What our county council has said are, the hands to get to the stage when you have zoning, when you have the general plan, the state's pushing down to all locals. And I can speak from being the president of SCAG, which is the southern counties, 6 counties, 192 cities. We weren't really happy
Thank you
with the
for
way that the
finally
state pushed down
explaining what
these new rules and
SCAG is.
restrictions. Million plus homes had to go in our SCAG region and go through it because they're worried about housing stock going forward. So it doesn't allow the locals to do a lot of things we used to be able to do and try to be in tune with really the character, I guess, of our communities. And that's really what's at heart here, is the character of Joshua Tree, what made it special for you to come and be residents there. It's a balance all the time of trying to keep that character going forward. Even in my communities that are more urbanized, I have one of my cities that's trying to retain its 100-year feel for agriculture and dairies and stuff, and now the society's moving in. There is no more cows there. They're all moved up in Central California or outside. So it's something we have to take all the time. We have to look at the evidence. I will also speak on behalf of the developer. I think compared to where it could have been impacted, the more homes and really push for something, there was an effort there to try to make it match. When I saw the county's presentation of the homes kind of lined up in the streets and stuff, I thought they did a pretty good job for what they had. It's not something you're used to, because you're not used to developers moving in. You're used to having single family.
Oh no, he's gaslighting the residents.
I think we're going to see more of that going forward. There's a lot more stops in this process. I think Mark was saying that, for the water, you have to have a will serve levy before you build anything. You have to have the sewer. A lot more environmental things they have to go through on this. But this is the first step in that track of going forward. I didn't necessarily get the argument as fast tracked. I heard that and a little bit of criticism in the county from everyone's talking, even the testimony against it. This started like 4 or 5 years ago. So this is on the horizon for a long time. I think the chair brought up a good point. There's no reason not to try to do more than it's required to do notification. And I think we could do a better job of that, especially in this late in the day. And I think we'll address that as a board going forward. But I again, want to appreciate everyone's testimony on this. And interesting talk. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions of staff?
Sounds like they're just
Supervisor Baca?
done.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. No, I do appreciate
Dunzo.
everybody making the trip from Joshua Tree,
I
and
mean,
appreciate your passion for your community, as each and every one of us here are passionate for our communities. And I know that each and every one of us make specific decisions sometimes for the best interest of our district, but there's times here on the dais we make decisions on what's in the best interest of the entire county of San Bernardino. Now, I had a question,
how is this in the
to our
best
council in
interest
regards
of
to
the
housing
entire
affordability
county of
act.
San Bernardino?
What could be potential
Interesting.
repercussions of the county in the event that we were to deny this project based on state law?
Well, certainly the applicant could sue the county and say that the denial is improper. So that would be part of the review of the record here. And a court found that the denial was not supported by preponderance of the evidence of specific public health and safety issues that could not be mitigated, then the board's decision can be reversed.
Is it possible the Attorney General, we've seen the Attorney General take suit with cities like Huntington Beach for not approving housing?
It's definitely possible. The state and the Attorney General is looking closely at local governments across California and is filing lawsuits in situations where they feel like the local governments are the impediment to creating additional housing.
So there's two reasons why the Board of Supervisors are just going to let this happen. Because they don't
one
want
of our cities
to
not having
not
adequate
get funding from
real estate,
Sacramento,
they keep them
and
safe.
two, they don't
So
want to
in
get in
regards
trouble
to
with for
really
not
anything based
following
on review and staff
the
review,
rules that
anything for
Sacramento
any
set
project
for them, and then they don't want to get in trouble with
Through
the developer
the chair, no.
No, I appreciate that.
because
comment,
the
and I appreciate
developer
the
can
staff
sue
putting together
them.
the report and going through this thoroughly. And I know the developer put in a lot of work and a lot of concerns. I know that the chair brought up some concerns in regards to speeding and other issues, and I think those things can be addressed. But the one thing I just want to point out is that I think we have a duty to look out for the best interest of the county. I wouldn't want to see the county come back with a lawsuit or be sued. So that's
All
one of the
right,
things I think
that's
we
the
should,
best interest of the
take into
county. You heard it
consideration.
right
And
there
so I
from
thank
Mr.
the
Joe Baca
staff for putting
Jr.
together a great report, the applicant for doing a great job, but also the residents. But one of the things that the chair brought up and Supervisor Hagman brought up was the noticing. And we had some specific projects in the 5th district, earlier, a couple years ago, where people feel that they were not noticed properly. So I think we have to look potentially at a policy change at some point in time. I know it's not agendized now, but at some point in time, we should look at a policy change for noticing those in the communities. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Before I close the public hearing, just one last thought to go on the record while I have my peers here. It takes money and investment to do circulation on streets, and I know oftentimes I feel like the 3rd district is the redheaded stepchild of the county because we are so willing to
Wow,
ensure
she
all feels
just
the same way out in
the
the 1st
third
district.
district
We have a
is
lot of
the
growth that
redheaded
has decided
stepchild.
to come to the area.
But you're the
Some
chair of the
visitors and
board.
full-time
Focus more
residents,
on the
and
3rd
the circulation along
district.
Yucca Trail, where it turns into then Altaloma, starting with La Contenta and proceeding to the east to Park Avenue. We have 3 major intersections there that involve schools. We have an offset at Sunny Vista that should never have been created, and school crossing guards that are, it's really tragic for an elementary school to be located at that offset. I would hope that my peers would prioritize public safety through traffic circulation and looking at what we can do to create a safe traffic corridor for our visitors that want to go up to the national park that is up to the south. So that will be a priority for me moving forward with land use services as well as public works. So I just wanted to go on the record today while we have all 5 of us here on that subject. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. I will entertain a motion either for staff's recommendation to deny the appeal or otherwise.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Hagman and a second from Supervisor Armendariz.
Wow,
All those
just
in
like
favor?
that,
Aye. Any
denied.
opposed? Any abstentions?
Wow.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I'm just trying to confirm. The motion is to deny the appeal? Or
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you. With that, the
Because
motion
she didn't
to
want
deny the
her
appeal,
head to get bit off
is
by the
approved
people.
unanimously.
Thank you very much. Our next item on today's
Wow,
agenda is
they
item
didn't
number
even really
73,
discuss
which is a
it that
public hearing for the
much.
formation of CSA 70, Zone R15A. Oh, that was continued?
Yes. Public comment.
So do we need to take public comment on that item? No. Do we need a motion to continue it?
We do.
Do I need
It'll
to?
say it's off calendar.
It's off calendar.
Okay.
I don't need to move it then, right?
We do need
All
a motion
right.
to take it off calendar.
All right. It's already been past the 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours. So I appreciate everyone who was in the stream with me for this time. Here, we'll go full screen. I appreciate all of you guys. Be on the lookout for maybe a clip of this that we could share, because pretty interesting stuff happened with Lovemore Ranch and the residents of Joshua Tree. So yeah, I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and I will see you guys hopefully next time on Sunday. I will try to continue streaming regular on Sundays at the very least. All right, everyone have a good one. We are done with this 3-hour massive video, 3.5-hour video. Peace, everyone.